YouTube. Whoops, I did YouTube. YouTube, there it is. If you did youtube.com, did y'all hear my phone just now chirp? That was because the cameras are rolling. By the way, I'm not aiming the cameras on us, I'm aiming the cameras on my desktop. But if you go to kw.com, do a search for KW First Atlanta. You see the result up there with the big circle? It says we are #1 KW. If you click on that, that will take you to the First Atlanta video channel. And you can see there we are right there. Placester website setup with Scott is live. There's my actual live feed to YouTube. It's got about a 5-second delay on it. And you can see there we are right there. There we go. I'll stop that before it gets weird. But anyway, one thing that I really enjoy sharing, I think is a cool tip, is once you get on the page, hit the subscribe link. Whoever this is, Monty, looks like she's subscribed. If you subscribe and then click on the little bell, it'll change a little bit to indicate that you're in alert mode. Just like you heard my phone a second ago chirp up as soon as the camera rolls, you'll get notified. And sometimes I'm driving down the road, my phone chirps up and says Sandy Springs or First Atlanta, excuse me, is live team meeting right now, or is live class right now, and I'll listen to it while I'm in traffic or when I'm at home. It's a great resource. Also, whenever we record to YouTube, it always archives into a video library. So if you click on videos there, you should be able to see all of our previous team meetings and classes and all kinds of stuff in there. So there's what's happening in this room and a nice big library that you can go check out. How cool is that? So that was your free tip there for YouTube. Before we get into the website stuff, though, I do want to introduce you to a different page here, and that is this website here, which is rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. We'll grab the slides so you can see a little bit better. rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com is, how's that? Can y'all see okay? Yeah. Is the gateway to my department, the technology department for the Rawls Group. I do tech support for all 6 of our locations, including this location. And it can be difficult to get me on the phone or get me to respond to an email in a timely manner. But I want everybody to know about my website, rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com, because there are tools and resources here to help you get the help that you might need to get my attention. And we'll be using this site today as we get into stuff. A couple things I just want to point out before we begin. Right on my landing page, and by the way, I find that some people don't catch on, rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com is outside of kw.com's website. You're not going to see that at my KW. It's its own little web page. But here I've got 2 big red buttons. Create a help desk ticket and book a remote tech session. If you were to click through create a help desk ticket, here you'd see a simple form you can fill out. You've probably filled out a help desk ticket before in your life. It's just contact information about you, about which market center you're in, and what kind of help you need and how important it is in terms of priority. Just bump your way through these as best you can. If they need adjustment, we'll adjust them. But here's what happens. When you submit this ticket, it goes into a queue, and it's monitored by me and 3 or 4 other people. Right? So we watch that every day, and we have meetings about what's in the queue. You know what I mean? And if you open up a ticket, the way we answer tickets is not in the order we get them. We will answer tickets in severity. We rank every ticket. So if you open up a ticket saying, I can't print to my favorite printer outside the hall, I got to walk all the way down the hall and get to the printer, we'll take that as a ticket, and it'll get solved at some point. But if somebody else were to say, hey, nobody on the 4th floor can print to any printers at all at Keller Williams, obviously that's a bigger issue. I got to tackle that first. And most people get that. That's basic help desk logic, if you will. But the question remains, when am I going to get to your one little small request? And we got some feedback that people said, it's really tough to wait and not know when you're going to get a call. We took that to heart, and we created this spot right here, book a remote tech session. If you click through here, you'll see you can book Chris Scroggs and myself. Chris is my associate tech. If you click on my schedule or Chris's schedule, you'll see our calendar comes up, and you see our availability. Now, this is not a fair representation of how busy I am right now. I am about to be on vacation, and I've got projects due before I go on vacation, so there's a lot of time blocking going on right now. But this is starting to look more like a normal. Usually about a week out is what you need to hit for me. And you'll see as I get in, there's a vacation week. My availability. The green squares are what's available. If you click on one, like for example, Friday, 6/22 at 11 a.m., now you know exactly when you're going to get my help, because there's my schedule. You know your schedule, now you know mine. You fill this form out. It can be, look at this, duration right here. It can be a 30-minute or a 1-hour appointment. Fill that out, and now just wait, and I will call you at that designated date and time. For the appointment, you just need to be on the internet. most cases I can solve just about anything over the internet. What I'll do is call you at the time, and I'll remote control your screen. So we'll work together, and you can be at home, at Starbucks, on the side of the road with a hotspot. That's where I am usually. I'm on the side of the road in my truck with a hotspot making these calls, and nobody even knows any better, you know, and remote control your system. I have a steering wheel desk. Y'all, anybody have a steering wheel desk? You know what I'm talking about? If you don't have this, I think a realtor is probably in your vehicle as much as I am. Check this out. This was a game changer for me. Whoops, steering wheel. Yeah, that helps. Desk. These little numbers right here. About 35 bucks on Amazon, 30 bucks on Amazon. I've got one that looks like that. It's awesome. It's thin enough. I just slide it in my passenger mat pocket, you know, and then when I get the call, pull over on the side of the road, grab it, slap it on my steering wheel, put my laptop there, and I can clock hours at my steering wheel sometimes. So if you're like me, I used to turn and work on the console. You know, I put it between my seat, and at the end of the day, I had headache and backache and all that. It's worth checking into.
You helped me to get my printer set up.
Uh-huh.
While I was in my car. I pulled over on the highway.
Is that right? We did it. I was probably in my car at the time. I bought a new Chevy this year that's got built-in Wi-Fi, and convinced my wife to let me go ahead and do the $20 a month. You know, she's like, "You're going to spend $20 a month for what?" And I said, "Look, it's unlimited internet," and it really is unlimited, and it's awesome. I got like the best Wi-Fi in the parking lot wherever I'm at. It's wonderful. So, but anyway, back over here to what we're talking about now. These appointments, you fill it out. I'll call you at the designated time. They don't cost you anything. There's no limit to the number of appointments you can get. Now, if you fill my calendar up, I will reach out to you and we'll talk about what's going on. But two reasons why I want to share this with you, the booking. One, I think it brings value to the table. Now you know how to get a hold of me and engage me and my people, help desk or get a consult going. But also, it applies today as we're getting into conversations about the website and topics. We are going to run out of time on some topics, and I may stop and say, that's as far as we're going. If you need more help on that, consider booking an appointment with me, get on my schedule, and this is what I'm talking about. Now you know how to do it, right? So you can get on my schedule. Does that make sense? Another area on my website that I want you to see is our training area. If we go to training, you'll see that my training calendar is available, and you can see where and what I'm teaching. I keep this up to date all the time. So here we are today at First Atlanta, 1 o'clock, teaching the agent website class. And I'll be at First Atlanta again, looks like May 24th. How about that? That's next. That can't be right. That's Thursday. I better go check with them and find out. I think that's an error. I think they might have signed me up twice by mistake. But generally, this is up to date. I'll be at Cityside on the 29th. These are always going to be Rawls Group locations. I pretty much teach the website class. You can see that. It's pretty common. But I'm starting to introduce some other topics as well, domain class, and we're going to talk about doing a content class soon. Sometimes people are surprised to find out that this class goes for 3 hours of lecture and an hour of workshop afterwards. And a lot of times when I say that at the beginning, people say, I got to leave here at 2 o'clock. I didn't have any idea it's that long. One thing I'll point out, if you left here today at 2 o'clock and showed up at one of these locations at 2 o'clock in the future, you're pretty much going to pick right up where I left off. I keep them very consistent. So that's one resource if you run out of time today, or if you need refreshments. If you need reinforcements on a topic, you can come and visit me at another location and jump in. Last thing I'll show you, then we'll get into some information here. On my landing page, this is rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. On the landing page, I've got this little thing that cycles through and shows a couple of training resources. And the first one, I'll click on it to make it come up, is this one right here, the Placester Website Setup 101. This video is today's class. It's been pre-recorded. It covers everything we're going to cover today and actually a little bit more. And it's a great resource if you need reinforcement on a certain topic, or maybe you go through this whole thing today and you want to repeat it tonight when you get home. You can watch the whole entire thing. Some people tell me, that was a joke, by the way. I don't know anybody wants to do that. You could start this video from start to finish, and some people tell me, hey, I get my whole website set up from this video, never had to come to class or get help. Or sometimes people say, you know what was he talked about? There you go, slideshow, for example. Maybe I need to see that again. I love this table of contents. If you click on it, it'll cue the video right to that section. If you press play, it'll pick up on that topic. So it gives you some on-demand resource where you can go and get some reference. And I'm really happy about that. I get a lot of good feedback on it. So that's rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. Let's talk about my Placester website, which my address is treehousefinder.com. It should be. Here it is. All right, what I've got coming up here, this is an example of a Placester site. This is my Placester website. The web address of the site is treehousefinder.com because I'm not in sales. I'm 100% technical, and it gives me the luxury to embrace in a fictitious business of selling tree houses, because in real life I love tree houses, and I thought, well, I don't want to be competitive with a demo site, so I'll be the treehouse guy. And in this idea, I thought, well, there's a great picture of what my treehouse would look like. There's my living room with my hammock. And so I just embraced that. I've embraced that domain from e-agency to e-edge and now to Placester. What you're seeing here is one of 8 different templates. This is called the Madison template. Today we're going to learn how to choose different templates. Madison template features this large banner across the top. It's got the color choices. We'll make choices accordingly. And you'll learn how to cover some things. I'm going to go give you about a 10,000-foot view of my website real quick and show you the things we'll be covering today. I'm just going to start from the top. We have social media badges up here at the top. When you click through, they'll go to your social media channel or any social media profile you want. We'll get control over those today. Our branding information right here in the top where it has Treehouse Finder and my little tagline. We'll get control over all this branding information and get a First Atlanta logo in here. I'll give you one guess where I taught the class last, right? Peachtree Road, just down the street. If you brought your photo, you'll learn today how to get your photo in there, along with your contact information, email, and phone number. We'll also get control over this menu down here, where some things are built in and some things are customized, and we'll customize our menu here. We'll learn how to do that today. And we'll also get control over the image that's back here. Now mine, I have a custom image of a tree house with an awesome hammock in the middle of it. That's called the slideshow. If you've looked at your Placester site or looked at others, one characteristic is usually it features 5 slides that are sliding. I just got tired of the slideshow. I just put one slide in mine and got that static image. You'll today learn how to control the slideshow. I'll make sure that we go through it. There's a collection of default slideshows that Placester provides, and I'll show you how to pick through those, and I'll show you how to add and take away from those slideshows and create your own if you want. But we will get control over what image is showing up. In front of this image is a search. And I'm sure you can figure out what happens there, right? It's a property search. This is actually a special type of property search, though. It's called an IDX property search. Have y'all heard of IDX before? I know some of us have, right? Been around for a while. But if you're new to real estate, IDX may be a new terminology. And here's what it is. It's worth writing down and for just remembering. But IDX allows you to provide a property search on your website that taps into your local MLS database, presenting the listing search results when a consumer does a search. The information presented is all the public comments, the photos, the description, the pricing, everything but one piece of information. Any guesses to what one piece of information is not included with an IDX search?
The listing agent?
The listing agent, precisely, right? That is the key signature of an IDX search. They take the listing agent contact info out and allow your contact information to be presented to the consumer. So that way it positions you to be a buyer's agent, right? So you know that if somebody does a property search on your website, for example, I could be driving down the road and somebody could say, hey, Scott, I was just at treehousefinder.com and I was searching for condos in Sandy Springs and I found one I really am interested in. Can you tell me about 123 Roswell Road? And I'm thinking, that's not my listing. What do? You train your brain to go into a buyer's agent script at that point and talk to them as a buyer, represent them as a buyer, and you go from there. I've actually had somebody before call me and say, something is really wrong with my website because I'm getting calls about listings that aren't even mine. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope you're handling those calls right. You know, what are you saying to them? And they just didn't understand, you know, the significance of IDX and how it worked. So below this, we have another section of featured properties. This is like a showcase of properties. This also is powered by IDX. We'll gain control over what listings are showing up, but I'll show you an example of a result here. If I clicked on, this actually kind of looks like my neighbor's house right there. I'm totally joking, of course. Could you imagine? You'll see that all the information's up. Photos comes from FMLS. I think this one's coming from MLS. Content, pricing, everything, even this get in touch call to action right here. If they fill this first name, last name, email address, and phone number and submit it, it's not going to go to the listing agent. It's going to go to me, right? The only phone number they see is actually mine right up here. And so that's what IDX layout looks like, right? So it gives me that opportunity. Right? So today we'll spend time looking at the featured properties, and we'll go through two scenarios for this area. One, I'll give you a scenario where you're an agent with no inventory and you need to get some listings that are relative to your geography and price point in your business staged up here. And then the other scenario we'll go through is if you're an agent with inventory, you want to get your specific inventory pinned up there, right? So we'll get some information on that and gain control over that as well. Y'all with me? Good. Coming on down the page, you'll see that there's a testimonial section that's available. You can see I work with some very top-end clients here. I used to have photos of everybody, but I got in trouble. And it's not that I had to take them down, is that I had to replace them with pictures I had permission to use. And I couldn't find pictures of these people, but I just was cracking up that Oprah Winfrey was one of my testimonials. We won't get into testimonies today. They're actually very simple. We're just going to run out of time. If I think about it, I'll point to the spot where you can add testimonies. It's super simple. It's very intuitive. Most common question I get about testimonials is how do they actually get up there? Do my customers put them up there, or am I putting the testimonies up there? And the answer is you will put them up there. You ask for your customer to give you a testimony, provide a photo, and there's a simple place you can add them. If that's something that you absolutely were here today to get and I don't cover it, get with me after class and I'll make sure that you get your testimonies up there, but it's real simple. Coming on down the page, you can see some final call to action and some brand reinforcement of me, along with some certifications, which we'll get control over these certifications today. There's a gallery of certifications you can pick from, so we'll go there, and almost everybody will get Equal Housing Opportunity will be one, and then National Association of Realtors will be one we can all agree that we should have. If you own any of the other certs, you can add them. And then finally down here, it just kind of recaps my contact and branding with my social media right here. These are the basics of what we're going to be covering today. We're just going through this page and building it out and getting control over everything. There's one thing I do want to share with you, though, that's not as obvious. I'm wondering, have you ever heard of the term mobile responsive before? These sites are mobile responsive. That's one of the selling points. And that's a buzzword. If you were to talk to a web developer and say, I want to build a website, you're going to have that question. Does it need to be mobile responsive? And what we're talking about is that the website is universal in terms of the layout. The width and the height is laid out for a desktop, or it could be a mobile device or a phone or a tablet, whatever the case is. So right now you're seeing desktop layout. The width and the height is the PC inside the podium, right, that I'm transmitting on the screen. But if you were to look at this on a phone, and I'll simulate that by breaking the window down here, and all I'm doing is just making my browser window here, I'm putting it into the shape of a phone. That's kind of like what a phone would look like, sort of. Right? That's about the shape of a phone. And look what's happened to the website. It has responded. It's now believes it's on a mobile device. It's being mobile responsive, and the width and the height's like a phone. You can see my menu has now collapsed. It's still there if I click on this, which is, by the way, called the hamburger. At the time, my 8-year-old taught me that. He's like, click on the hamburger. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is the hamburger. Click on it. There's my menu. It's still there. All the parts are there. They've just been mobilized. My social media is there. At first, it looks like everything's missing, but it's actually there. It's just mobilized. My broker logo is there. You can see that my property search is still there. My photo actually fits really well. Featured properties used to be the 4 tiles going across, is now in column. Somebody pointed out one day, and I thought it was a really good observation. They said it looks like the pictures are actually larger in mobile version, and I thought that they actually are. That's smart. That looks really good on a mobile phone. So the functionality did not get lost because I'm looking at this on a mobile phone. Everything's there, testimonials and so forth. If I were to look at it on a tablet, it would look something maybe sort of kind of like this wide here. There you go. And you can see that it's still going to, there you got 2 columns now instead of 1. Things are starting to fit a little bit differently. And then if I bring it open again, snap it open, comes back into desktop mode. There we are. And there are two reasons why this is important. One is very obvious, and that's, have you ever been on a website that was not mobile responsive before? That's a lousy experience, right? If you're on your phone like me, you're sitting there pinching and zooming and panning. I learned all those terms. That's actual mobile terms. Pinch, zoom, pan. Those are what you do on a mobile site. Trying to make this site work that's not meant for a phone, and you can't tap on the links because your finger's too big. Ultimately, what do? You give up, which means you leave, you get off the website. That's no good. Which brings me to point number 2. Google is thinking along those lines. Google knows that more and more web users are using mobile devices. Right? There's a stat out there that says something like, what is it, upper 80% of home buyers find their home online. I've heard that before. Now, I've also heard of add-on to that where nearly 90% of those people were on a mobile device when they found their home online. And I saw my home for the first time that I live in today on a mobile device. It was the first place I saw it. You know, I was like, wow, I'm officially a statistic, you know. So, but Google's aware of that. And it's not just real estate, it's everything. Google knows that the world is becoming mobile. And so if you don't know how Google works, you know, basically, in a nutshell, what Google does is it crawls the entire internet, and it catalogs every website that it can find so that it can load up and be ready when somebody does a search, right? Because when you want to find something on the internet, you Google it, right? You don't Yahoo it, you don't Bing it, you don't dogpile it, you Google it, right? So Google's got to defend their good name and be very accurate about the internet. Think about how ambitious that is. Crawls the entire internet, grabbing every single page that exists, tries to analyze it, and then puts it into an index. And if you do a search for things like cars for sale in Atlanta, at Google, it says, yeah, here's a list of websites I've got ready for you about cars for sale in Atlanta, and they've been organized in terms of most relevant on top and then descending order, right? So in order to do that, Google ranks those pages, and it has a formula that it follows, and it's a big list of things that it does. But what I've learned is one of the things that it does is it checks for mobile responsiveness. It has a mobile readiness check. And it challenges your website. And if it passes the mobile readiness, it'll actually give you a higher ranking in those search results. And if you fail, it'll push it lower. I was like, wow, there's a reason right there. That's amazing. It's not going to make or break your position in the search engines, but it's one thing that contributes, right? So that's awesome that these are mobile responsive. People will tend to use them on their mobile phone, and Google likes them. Our old systems, our e-Edge, and our e-agency sites are not mobile responsive. These are. Placester's are. You can upgrade your e-agency site for, I think it's $1,400. There's a company that'll make it mobile ready. Or you could just use our Placester site, which is already paid for by our monthly consortium fee, right? So that's a really good thing to brag on Placester about. I love that fact that they are mobile responsive. What do y'all think about this website as I've showed it to you so far? It's pretty cool, huh? It's super simple. It looks current. It's a WordPress site. If you haven't heard that, WordPress is arguably one of the industry-leading standards of web development. And I'm anxious to show you how to build it. Y'all ready to switch gears and learn something about yours?
Yes.
All right, come back next week. Just kidding. So the key to get things started, close up a couple windows. I was taking some phone calls using the computer here to do my work, my other work. All right, so to get into Placester, what you're going to need is you're going to need to get into mykw.kw.com, which I'm heading to right now. Everybody needs to be able to log into this page here. You recognize this, I'm sure, right? This is our intranet page. If you don't have access to this page, you need to go see Bailey Craig. Once you're in this layout, to get to the Placester site, it's going to be straight up here at the top in this black technology area. I'm hovering. I'm not clicking. If you click on it, it sends you off to some other place in technology. So just hover over it so that this pull down develops. And then find where it says KW Websites. This is the Placester systems right here, KW Websites. So if you're following along with me right now, go ahead and click on KW Websites. And it should take you to this page, which is our gateway to the Placester site. And hopefully everybody in the room sees what I see, which is right here in the middle. It says, your new website is ready. Go to my website.
If you see something different, sometimes people, new people especially, it may say it's not ready, come back later. Anybody got that situation? Awesome, good. So we won't even go into that. But if you're on YouTube and you're watching this, if you do see that situation, you're going to need to give Placester a call and have them push your process along. You can get with Bailey Craig on that as well. So if you're following along, go ahead and click on Go to My Website. And what we should see when that comes up is the Placester dashboard, which is what I've got right now. It's kind of a busy dashboard, but we're not going to be going all over it. There's going to be one area we're going to focus on right now. We're going to work over here, find this section that says Quick Actions. And depending on where you are on your website, if you've played around with your site and you've already launched it, it will look like mine, where I have the option to view my live site or edit site. But if you're brand new and you've never worked with your Placester site, you'll see an option here to launch your site. Anybody got launch your site? Because if you do, I need you to click on that right now. Launch your site. If it's like me, where you see view live site and edit site, then let's just together, everybody click on edit site.
Sorry, I'm
It's okay. I'm going to pause for a minute and make sure we're all in the same place anyway. Is there anybody not on this page?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
What page are you on?
I'm on my local. Sorry,
You're fine. I'll get you there.
I was on my Xfinity Wi-Fi.
So go to edit site.
Okay.
You're right there. You're one click behind.
This is where we're going to be spending our time today. We're going to be spending our time in this edit site. Scroll up here, and we're going to be covering everything underneath listings, where we're going to get control over our IDX. Remember, we talked about IDX earlier. We'll get through all these items, and then we'll go through our site design, and we'll cover all these items here under site design. And believe it or not, by the time we get through site design, usually it's 4 o'clock, or we're coming right up on it. I try to end right at 4 o'clock. And you look at that and you go, well, how long does that take to get through there? Well, it takes to about 4 o'clock. And so with our time in mind, y'all haven't asked a whole lot of questions. Sometimes by now I've had like 10 questions, and that's fine. Questions are fine. I learn from questions. Somebody once said, if you want to master something, teach it, because it forces you to answer those questions and look at what you're not interested in, So questions are good, but not when you're in a time crunch. So here's what I want to do. When it comes to questions, hold your questions. When I'm talking about the listing section over here, let me get through all the listing stuff. And if I haven't answered your question, I'll ask for questions and we'll cover it, and then we'll move on. And if your question's a good one for the group, we'll entertain it together and work on it. But if it's something more specific to you, I may say, hey, wait after class or get on my schedule and let's do it together. And then the same thing for site design. Let me get through all that stuff, and then if I didn't cover your question, we'll cover it. That way we can stay on track. And by the way, speaking of staying on track, I do take this lecture up to 4 o'clock, but I don't leave at 4 o'clock. I make it a point to stay and hang out. And if you're working on your website afterwards, I go desk side. You got a question, you want to work on something specific, work on something we didn't talk about even, that's totally fine. If you're here, I'll be here with you up until about 5 o'clock. I turn into a pumpkin. So, that's the best I can do. Does that sound good? Is there anybody not on the same page with me? Terrific. So together, let's click on IDX integration. Let's just start right here. And with this first slide out, what's happening is we are looking at a choice here of how we're going to connect our website to an MLS database. What we're getting control over, if you look at my site for a minute, is we're getting control over the engine behind this search tool right here, the logic behind this search, and the thing that drives the listings into this featured property. What we got to do is connect the website to a database that supplies us with listings. And here's our choices. We've got Georgia MLS as a choice. We've got First MLS. Here it is as a choice. Won't let me highlight it. And we have KWLS as a choice, which, by the way, is selected by default. Who knows what KWLS is? Anybody heard of that? Keller Williams Listing System. It's Keller Williams' private listing database. And that's a whole conversation of why we have it. Just for now, know that we have one, right? We've got a listing database. What do you think you're going to see in Keller Williams' database, though, in terms of listings? Are you going to see RE/MAX listings? No. Keller Williams listings? Yes. Keller Williams listings only? Yes. You're not going to see competitive listings. So think about this. By default, our Placester site is connected to KWLS, which means the property search and the featured properties is supplied with Keller Williams listings only. And if you don't know that, if you haven't gotten this far in the class with me today and seen this right here and realized it, you may wonder why you're having trouble with your searches and why you're not finding all the inventory, especially when it comes to competitive inventory. So it's super important that we choose Georgia MLS or FMLS, and I would recommend FMLS. Most people in the room probably agree that FMLS is going to be the solution for where we are. So if you click on Use This MLS right there, it'll now connect my website or connect your website to FMLS. Before you hit the Save button, look at your region question. Mine says region and then Georgia. Make sure yours says Georgia. If it doesn't say Georgia, if it says something else, you might have to go in here and make a selection, you know, if it says something wrong or nothing at all. By the way, here's a tip. If you do go into this combo and choose an option like Georgia, once you've made your selection, take your mouse out of there and just click on the background. It'll collapse that little combo box there so you can actually hit Save. So now that I've got FMLS selected, there it is right across, says selected, and Georgia's my region, I'm going to hit Save, lock that in, and now my website is talking to FMLS instantly. Yes?
I know we're talking about the Placester website, but if I select it, does this in any way affect my mobile app?
That's a great question. And by the way, I'm a sucker for questions. I know I made a stand against them, but if you ask them, I can't. It's hard for me not to answer them. I will, but that's a great question. I will speak to that. This is independent of your mobile app. I'm glad that you asked that question. And this is isolated just to your Placester site, so you can make that choice without any concern. Oh, this is ridiculous now. You got to be kidding me.
When I hit Save, it wants me to log back into Placester, which I don't know that I've ever done before.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question. That is a bug that I can't explain that I see from time to time where people will they'll lock in a choice and then it kicks them out.
Okay.
And what it does is it kicks you over here to this page here. Whoops, Placester.com. That's what you're looking at, right? Maybe something like this. Yeah, the login page takes you there. Right? Well, you can't log in here with a KW account, just so you know.
Yeah, that's how
right? I get help desk tickets all the time. People are saying, hey, I'm trying to log into my Placester with my username and password. It won't let me in. And when I hear that, I'm like, I need to let you know. You can't log in at Placester.com. The only way to do it is to go back to my KW and work your way over here to the technology, to KW websites. But here's the thing I want you to know. If you're experiencing the kick out every time you save a choice and it's kicking you out, don't just come to my KW. Get to my KW and do a log out right there. Do you see that up there at the very top where it says log out? I want you to actually go to KW and perform a log out and then come back in, and that hopefully will clear it up so that you can make choices and it won't kick you out every time. Y'all with me? Okay, so back over here to my Placester. I've made my IDX integration choice. I've connected to FMLS. Let's just move on down the line to Global Filters. Click through Global Filters, and I'm just going to give you the right answer here. It's divided into 3 tabs. We're going to choose the first tab, All Listings, and then find the sentence that says Display all listings from my MLS and my website. I've got it highlighted, and then click the checkbox. And there's a number, 44,597. That's presumably all the active listings in FMLS right now. And what we're doing, I'm going to go ahead and save that. You can go ahead and save that. And what we're doing by making that choice, save it, confirm, yeah, is we're now telling the website that anything that's on the market at FMLS is eligible to come up in a search result. We don't want to limit it. We're not making a property-specific website that all you can find is townhomes, for example, or a boutique website that all you can find is $1 million plus homes. You know, we're not doing something like that. We're just saying whatever the consumer searches, if it's active, we're going to let that be a possible result. And then you let the consumer narrow things down based on what that consumer is interested in. So sometimes people don't do this, but I will say I get calls where people will go into Global Filters and they fool around. They'll start saying, well, I can discover this and figure it out. Add search criteria. They'll come over here, and for some reason, this is the popular item. They'll go in and do a max price. And they'll set a max price like $250,000. Right? Now, if I were to go and save that, now what that would do is that would limit the performance of my website. Nowhere on my website would you see a listing in a search result or anything like that. I'm going to turn mine off before I get in trouble too. Nowhere would you see a listing outside of that price range. So Be careful about that. All listings, hit the sentence that says display all listings, lock it in, and don't ever go back there again without me. If you think you've got a business reason for doing it, seriously, let me know, because sometimes people do have a great idea, and it's like, oh yeah, let's make a special website. But basically, that's what you want to do, global filters. Now, featured listings, the next section. This is allowing us to get control over our showcase properties. Before I click on it, though, I will tell you that this is one of the first areas that as you make changes, you can see the changes on your website. And so if you want to watch as you're making changes to your website, I want to point this out to you. Up here in the top right-hand corner, it says View Live Site. If you've not seen your website yet, if you're not sure how to find it, you can always click on View Live Site. As I've done it, now it's bringing up my website, treehousefinder.com. And now I can look at the results of my changes. In fact, I should already see some changes on my website. Do you see anything different? Wondering who's got an eye for detail. What is it? FMLS, right? Before, I didn't have FMLS badges. But remember, we connected to FMLS, and now when I refresh the page and look, I'm seeing those badges. That serves as a really quick way to spot check whether your website's talking to FMLS or not, because you start seeing those logos and the inventory actually change. So what we're going to do now is get control over our featured properties. This is where I'm focusing in the control panel, these featured properties. And I'm going to do that right here, featured listings. Click through it. And we're going to make some changes and edits and play around with this for a little bit. So remember, there's two scenarios I'm going to give. One is if you're an agent without inventory, and the other is if you're an agent that has inventory. We're going to talk first about not having inventory. If I go back and look at my website for a minute, there's the current one right there. If you look at the listings that have showed up, without me setting anything at all, you can see that the listings coming up are this $15 million listing, the $16 million listing, which would be awesome, obviously, to sell, but it's not very realistic probably for our business. And if you're in the first scenario where you don't have inventory, first order of business is probably to get some inventory that does represent your business, right? And so what we want to do to correct this issue here, or to get control over this, is we want to bring the pricing in line, and we want to bring the geography in line, because right now this is all over the place, and it's probably not our sales territory. So we're going to use this tool, featured listings. We're going to go in the first tab called filtered listings, and we're going to work with this listing criteria here. And I've got mine set for nothing. I've just started mine over from scratch, and this is what it looks like when you first go into this tool. And I can begin by focusing right here on max price. I can begin to get those prices in line. If I was wanting to show real estate for Sandy Springs, what do you think would be a good maximum price? Like $1 million maybe? Or $750? $750? Okay. I'll go with that. I have no idea what the market is, really. So $750. I'm going to set $750,000. All I did was type the numbers in and hit enter. Yes.
When I go into filter listings, I'm saying minimum price city.
Yes,
You don't have max price?
no, or the better down.
That tells me that maybe one or two criteria have been set. And if you want to add the max price, find where it says add search criteria. Everybody should have this, add search criteria. And then across from it is this combo box that I'm going to hit. And these are all the choices you can pick from. Find in there where it says max price. Max price. There, I'm going to get mine loaded up, and I'll look at yours.
You can add whatever it is.
Right, and I can't choose max price because mine exists. Let me take that out. So there we go. I'm like clicking on it going, what is happening? And it's because I've already got it. There we go, max price. And then I'm going to click right here next to add. And now it's incorporated. Is anybody missing it still? Okay, let me take a look at yours real fast. And we'll get you sorted out.
When they keep going down, under, like a brace.
Max price. There you go. And then add it. Now you should have a max price value. So I like to use the max price just so that's an easy one to just filter out all the wrong answers. I can get to that 750, so I'm in the right price range. 750
straight numbers. I'm just going to type those in. I can hit enter or I can hit search, either way. And as I do that, the results down here show up based on my criteria. The only criteria I've defined is 750,000 max price. There's 39,881 listings that match that criteria. If I were to go down, you can just watch this. If I were to go down to save and then go look at my website, here it is, view live site, click on that. Now if I come down and look, I can see that my featured properties have begun to change. They're based on 750,000. Great, so I'm getting the right price. Now I can look at the geography a little bit. So I'll go back to my tool, go back into my featured listings again right there, and keep whittling away at this. So now, see how what happened, I defined something and all those other blanks are gone? That's what was happening to y'all. I think you might have had 1 or 2 things in there already. So now if I want to add a geography-based criteria, I'm going to use this add search criteria right here. And I'm going to come to my choices. And I'm going to find there's a location area. There it is right there, location. Now location has grown recently in terms of what you can choose from. Used to be just city, county, state, subdivision, and zip were in there. But they've added all these other things. And I'm really happy to see it. High school, middle school, neighborhood. That was in their neighborhood. But elementary school. I think that was feedback Placester was getting. They needed that in there. And in the last 3 to 4 months, I've started seeing these. So you can choose a couple of things for geography, but today I'm just going to play with, I'm going to start with the city. Let you see how that works. I'm going to add that. And there it is. Now it's been added as a criteria. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type Sandy Springs. Notice how as I'm typing it, it's suggesting it. That's not my browser doing that. It's actually talking to FMLS and knows, oh, Sandy, it must be Sandy Springs because that's a city in FMLS, Sandy Springs. If I hit that, I just did an enter on my keyboard, and look what it did. Sandy Springs is now encapsulated in this gray, and I've got a cursor. I could actually type multiple cities here if I wanted to, right? I'm just going to go with Sandy Springs for now, and 750,000. I want to see what that does to my search results. My 39,000 right here. Let's see what happens when I search it. Down to 511 now. 511 listings match my criteria. Not sold, but 2 criteria. Max price, 750, city, Sandy Springs. If I wanted to go take a look at that, I could save this. Now, by the way, I did show you the View Live Site tool, but what drives me crazy is every time you click on it, it spawns a new tab at the top. Look how many Welcome to Treehouse Finders I have at the very top. That drives me nuts. So this is what I do. I don't keep clicking on View Live Site. I'll just go up here and I'll just refresh the page to get the updated information, and that's what I'll do the rest of the class unless I lose the tab, and then I'll hit that again. So now the page is fresh. I've refreshed it. I've got the right price, and I'm starting to get the right city. Sandy Springs is 750. Pretty sweet, right? It's starting to look like some selections that make sense, that would be featured properties or showcase properties. Sometimes when I'm talking to people about this website for the first time, I sense that there's a certain amount of frustration under featured listings where they're frantically trying to list everything that covers their sales territory. They're like, hey, I'll work in Stockbridge, Alpharetta, Gainesville, whatever, and they're listing all those, and they're doing all these other constraints. They're adding tons of criteria. Remember, what we're really trying to do is we're just trying to put 4 listings up here, right? It's like a storefront. You're just trying to do a showcase just to kind of show a cross-selection of what you think are the kind of real estate and the location of real estate you want to work with that matches your target demographic. So don't feel a lot of pressure to go through and answer all those different criteria based on what you're willing to do. Focus your attention on trying to get a good cross-section. Now these listings are showing in this order, the 750,000, because of a value called, a setting I've got in here called default sort order. Look at this right here, default sort order. This is an interesting configuration where it's set for price highest to lowest. You can go through and choose some different choices. Out of all of these, I like price highest to lowest. I like that one. And the other one I really like is total images, which it puts total images first and then descending order. So if I do that, watch this. Total images most, come in, save that. Now I'm going to come up here. The page is now stale. I'm going to recycle the page so I can see an update. Now what it does is it shows the listing with the most photos first. And I think that it makes for a nice kind of shuffle the deck around a little bit, you know. Doesn't look so, I mean, it looks like I hand-picked those houses for some reason. Now this 115,000, I don't know what's going on over here. Hammond Drive, right? That doesn't support my showcase. I don't like that at all. So here's what I could do. Come in here and I can say, well, let me go in. That looks like, is that a condo, you think?
It says 1 bedroom.
Yep. Yep. So here's what I could do. If I wanted to look like Maintown, USA a little bit more, I could come over here to my featured listings. I could dig in further.
Put a min price, right?
You can put a min price if you want. I'm going to go to add search criteria. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to come in and I'm going to go down to property details and I'm going to choose property type. Add that in. And now I can go in here and I can say what I like. Residential detached. I think that's what I'm going to put in there for now. And that should clean that up.
But again, if you were in Sandy Springs and you want to concentrate just on condos,
You could flip it the other way. Right. That's it.
I'm the Midtown condo king, so I just want to do
Yeah.
that area code.
Same concept, you just flip the script on it. That's right. You say, you know what? Filter everything else out, and I'm going to show condos. Exactly. You can see now where I've got more houses in here, so I like what's going on here. So how many houses, how many listings, I should say, matched my criteria? It looks like there was 243 listings matched my criteria. That means, I want you to see this the way I see it. The way I see it is then that means this is a pipeline of 243 houses. I've got 243 houses coming from here, pushed into this list, and it's showing the first 4, starting with the one with the most photos first, then the one with the next most photos, and so forth. So if 115 Landseer Way comes off the market and sells, then this one will slide over, and the next one in my 243 list will fill that place, right? So it's nice. It makes a pipeline that's sort of set it and forget it, so to speak. You know, and that's nice if you don't have any inventory and you don't want to have to constantly be looking and making sure that that house doesn't sell, and now you got a blank tile on your website. That doesn't work that way. It just fills it up. And that's nice, right? So you can keep inventory flowing in without having to keep an eye on it. All right. Go ahead and save that for a minute. Let's switch gears. Let's pretend that you have inventory and you need to get your specific listings instead of some random listings that are just in your area and your price point. What we'll do is we'll go into featured listings, and this time, instead of working in filtered listings, we're going to work in specific listings right here, specific listings. And we'll come down and click on it, and you'll notice that the tool looks pretty familiar. We've got our search criteria, our listing criteria. It even carried our values over from our last example. But then if you look below that, it looks a little different where we have 2 columns. We have a search result column, and now we have got a select listing or selected listing column. The way it works is you build criteria up here. Whatever you search, whenever you search, the results appear down here on the bottom left, and then the idea is whatever you move from the left to the right column, whatever's at the right is what's going to be pinned on your website. So you can be very specific about what shows up. Take this example. We removed these criteria. That was from our previous example. I don't really need those anymore. And let me add a new criteria. If I am an agent that has inventory and I want to find my inventory, one way to do it would be to go over here to this option called Agent ID and add that to my criteria. There it is. If my website's connected to FMLS and I'm thinking of an agent ID, I need to be providing an FMLS username to connect the dots here. Okay. Now I'm not an agent, don't have an FMLS ID, but I do have Lisa Vale's ID. She's agreed to let me play with hers for class, and she usually has inventory to play around with. So I'm going to role play as I'm Lisa Vale right now, and I'm going to put her FMLS username into my settings. Her username is VTeam. I don't need her password. You don't need your password. You just need to know your FMLS username. There it is, VTeam, and if I hit search, I should get some results. There they are, and I recognize these. I see them enough to know these are Lisa Vale's listings. So what I can do is I can just move them over to the right. You can move them one at a time by double clicking on them, or you can highlight one and say add, or you can just do it in one fell swoop right there, add all, which I've done. Notice I had 11 as a result. I hit add all, but only 10 came over. It's kind of interesting. Look at this. The results show 1 through 10 at a time. So if I want to get them all truly, I got to go to page 2 of this column and then hit add all again, and there's the 11th one, little straggler. So now I've got 11 listings that are pinned to the website. I'm going to hit save. Go look at the web page, recycle. And now we should be seeing lease avails listings come up, and they are. There they are. So we had 11 listings that were lease avails, and so I've got a smaller pipeline now. I've got 11 listings that are being pushed into this row, and the first 4 of her 11 are showing, and they're showing based on, I don't even know what they're based on. I do, but let's go look. Featured listings. We're in specific listings based on price highest to first, price highest to lowest. So they must have reset that for us. I could go back in and do total images if I wanted, days on the site if I wanted. For this, I'm going to do price highest to lowest and leave it alone for now. Okay, so now we have an understanding of why those listings are showing up. Those are lease avails listings, playing like they're mine. I got 11. Same principle. If Herds Ferry, the third one, if Herds Ferry sells, comes off the market, then Shiver Summit, Shiver or Shiver? Shiver, okay, will come over, and then the next one on my list of 11 will fill in. Much smaller pipeline, but I'm also much more in tune with that pipeline. They're my listings, right? So I know when one sells and things like that, so I'm not worried about it. A very common question I get at this point is, well, that's great, she had 11 listings, but what if you only have 1 or 2 listings? How can you fill this out? Let me show you that real quick. I'm going to come back and redo this, and I'm just going to blow this out. I'm going to remove all these, and I'm going to come back up, and I'm going to, oh, I killed my search criteria. I'm going to go back and add agent ID. Let's pretend like instead of being lease avail, I'm going to add an ID that's got 2 listings, usually about 2. So I will search that, and let's see what we get. 2 results. I can add all those over, add all. So there's my 2, Hunter Crossing and Silva Pine. Save it. Come back up to my website and refresh the page. There we go. So there's my 2 listings on my website. Now if you're like me, this drives me crazy because I'm a very symmetrical person. And it drives me nuts that's off to the left, right? And I know I've got these 2 blanks here. If they were to actually to just center this, I'd probably be okay. But it drives me nuts. I want to fill that out. And plus, I know I can fit 2 more showcase properties, so why not, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can leave these in place and add some more borrowed listings onto your website. Now what I'm going to do to begin that process is I've got these sorted right now in descending order. This one and then this one. And in order to show this example, I'm going to be mindful of this price, $385. It'll help me to remember that in case I get stuck. Featured listings, specific listings. Now in this scenario, I'm done with that criteria because it only fetched 2 results and I've already used them. So I'm going to blow that out. I'm going to say, no, I don't need agent ID anymore. I'm going to go find some listings based on other criteria than agent ID. And the criteria that I'm going to base it on is going to be geography and price. I know that P. Simone's listings are in East Cobb area. So I'm going to add search criteria. I'm going to do something like, you know, I can't really do city if I want to do East Cobb, right? Because if you've ever been in FMLS and try to find East Cobb as a city, you find that it doesn't exist, right? So I could do Marietta as a city, or I could do a zip code. I could do a county. I can do county. Let me add that and say Cobb. And then I'm going to add a price point. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say max price. Max price. I'm going to add that. And what was her lower price? $385, right? I'm going to set a ceiling. I'm going to say show me nothing more than $385. 380. Let me hit enter. It searches, and I got 2,932 results. There they are right there, based on being in Cobb, max price at 380. Now, if I go ahead and add those, look at this. The Hunter's Crossing and Silva Pine are still in place. If I say add all, there's Hunter's Crossing and Silva Pine, and it added more. I got 12 in total that are pinned up. I'm going to try to get to about 50, right? So what I'm going to do is just, what I like to do is just get this just so I can see add all. Whoops, there it is right there. And I can see my page numbers. There we go. Page number 2, add all. Page number 3, add all. Page number 4, add all. Maybe the 5th one would be enough. Just want to give some bulk, right? Let's see where we are. 52, look at that. Y'all with me? I'm going to save that. Now go look at my website. There's the Hunter's Crossing and Silva Pine. I'm going to recycle that. And now what I should have is the Hunter's Crossing and Silva Pine are still in place. Now I've got some dynamic listings. I got 52 other listings coming in on the backside. But because I set a max price of $380,000, it keeps these two in place and they're safe, right? What if I would have just not set a criteria? What if I would have allowed large prices in there? It would have just overrun these, and they would have been, my Silva Pine and Hunter's Crossing would have been pushed down to the bottom of the list, right? So I did that on purpose, where I set a max price strategically lower than this price, so that I would keep these safe, and then these are dynamic. And if that comes off the market or wood goes off, the next one on the list of 52 will fill up, right, and take that spot. Meanwhile, my 2 listings stay safe. Barry, how's it going, man? Good to see you. All right. So now we've got a mixture of my listings and somebody else's listings. You've been exposed to both of these scenarios of how to put your own listings or to borrow listings onto your website, and you can manipulate these search criteria, go through and try to drill down and get whatever results you want. Obviously, this could get kind of complex at times, and it's not uncommon for somebody to book an appointment with me and say, hey, just help me get my listing sorted out or work after class. This is as far as we're going to go on this today, and I'll open it up for any questions. Anybody have any questions about what I've showed you so far? Make sense? Awesome. Y'all are real quiet today. Are you learning?
Yes.
Okay, good. Make sure. Okay, I'm going to save that, and we're going to switch gears. Thankfully, personally, that's my least favorite topic, featured listings. This stuff is fun. Site design, I like all this stuff. So we're going to tap into theme selection, where it's going to give us the option to pick a template. I think it's called a template. They call it a theme. There are 8 different templates that you can pick through. Currently, I'm on the Madison. It's template number 7 of 8. I can use these little arrows to flip over. Take a look. There's the Madison Metro. You just got a sense of these. There's the Plymouth, the Fremont. I'll let you pick those out too as you thumb through them. The Phoenix, Sedona, there it is. Toronto. Let's say I like the Toronto. I could choose that. I get a choice for color palette. They all have, they all have color palettes that you can pick through. Now I can't be specific and say, you know what, I want to do the Sedona. I want it to be with yellow writing and green menu. Can't do it that way. You just pick a palette. Now there are some multicolor palettes. I can say, yeah, I want to go orange and blue, and it will rebuild that orange and blue, or I can do it all in green, and it'll rebuild it in full green. But once you pick what you like, you can hit save, and then come up and check out your website. Now my page is stale. I'm going to recycle it. It's going, is in the Madison now, and it's coming back as, I think that was the Sedona or Fremont. It's hard to see if you can't tell, but this big white area, I lost my logo. It looks like I have a white logo on a white background. That causes the problem. It looks like it disappeared. It's really there. We'll talk about that in a little bit, how to solve that. There's my featured listings. Did y'all notice something about the featured listings? Instead of 4, I got 6. This particular layout has 6 tiles for featured listings. Different templates, they all have the same basic features, but they may handle them a little bit different. For example, if I keep going over here, there's the Toronto, back to the Madisons. A real popular alternative is the Plymouth. A lot of folks like the Plymouth. features a full bleed image, see all the way to the left and right, and it puts the property search below the fold of the web page down towards the bottom. I come down here and select it and put myself, I'm going to do a blue Plymouth for fun. I'm going to save that. Now if I go look at my website, check it out. Here comes the Plymouth. All right. Again, there would be a logo there, but it's white KW on the white, so it's missing. But there's the Plymouth and how it looks. The property search window is no longer in the middle of my image, which I like that. It's down here. Featured listings opens up considerably, 6, 7, 8. There's one in here that's got 11, I think, or 12, but this one's real popular. A lot of featured listings in that one. There's some challenges with it, though. Not only, and this isn't a problem, having the white KW, we just fixed that, but notice my headshot isn't anywhere up there. And a lot of times people complain, hey, where's my headshot? On the Plymouth, the headshot is introduced at the bottom. There it is. Strange place to put the headshot, isn't it? But that's where they put it. I will share with you, though, a real interesting take on the Plymouth. Check this out. This is my Smyrna in Realtor.com. This is Christina Zerker out of Cityside, a Rawls Group office, Cityside. Her web address is My Smyrna Realtor. She has MySmyrnaRealtor.com. She has a Plymouth in use. Whoa, what's happening? Here it comes. Look how she tackled that problem. Pretty clever. Now you're seeing a slideshow. Remember mine, I just had the one image. This is characteristic of most of the templates. Most people have a slideshow sliding through, which is you can put 5 slides in a slideshow. We'll talk about that next. But look what she did here. If I go and hit this little, see these little dots right there, I can lock it and say, yeah, stay on the first slide. So come back here. There it is. Okay. So you can see where what she did was she put a custom picture in. This is one image that she created. And I thought that was a really clever use of her headshot. It looks so awesome, large and full of life there. I asked her, I said, hey, how did you do this actually? And she said, well, I went and took a picture of a listing and got the porch. That's what you see on the left-hand side. And then she went to a clip art website and she got the Home Sweet Home clip art. She took those 2 images and with third-party software, she connected them, made one image, right? She used like Photoshop or GIMP or some sort of software. And it made this seam across the middle, which she concealed by putting a tightly cropped, very tightly cropped headshot over the middle of the seam, which is brilliant. All right, looks good. And then she put the Keller Williams Cityside logo here. This is a KW Cityside logo with the PNG format, which features a clear background. We'll talk about that in more detail later. And then she put up here, she put her business logo up there. So she's got a compliance logo there. And she did a really good job of using that space. And of course, her official headshot, there it is down there. No big deal. I'll show you another example of the Plymouth in use. This may hit you a little bit closer to home. It's Michael Bunch's website, Bunch Real Estate. I think it's Group. I'm either going to show you his Placester right now, or it's going to be his E-Edge. Let's see what comes up. Bunch. This is his Placester site. So he's on the Plymouth as well. I noticed this takes a minute to load. I think he's got a high-res image in there. I need to maybe send him an email and see if that's what's going on. But here he just put one image in instead of 5, and he added his logo on it. It's just really good use of that space. I think it looks good. And then his search for real estate down there, and he's got his featured listings in here. 2 examples of the Plymouth that are in use right now, I think are worth going and looking at. Bunch Real Estate Group, MySmyrnaRealtor.com. Check them out when you get a chance. Meanwhile, back on our control panel under theme selection, we can go through and we can pick a theme that we like. If you are a sales associate with KW, you get 8 templates. The first 2, technically the last 2, 7 and 8, Madison's, are exclusive to KW associates. Only KW associates can get the Madison or the Madison Metro. The rest of all these, like this one here, are available on the retail platform for Placester. But these 2
Madison Metro and Madison were made specifically for KW, and they're the only templates that feature a colored banner. This one can be turned on to colored banner. The choices down here. As we come down past our color choices, you can choose to turn on a full colored banner or to have a white banner. The choices you make here will reach over and influence the Madison Metro. They don't have that big banner choice down here, so you choose whether a full colored or an empty banner at Madison, and it will impact the Madison Metro. The rest of all the template selections all feature a white banner right here. So a lot of times people say, hey, I'm trying to get a red banner on Plymouth. Can't do it. It's going to be Madison. If you are a luxury agent, you have the luxury designation on your associate role. There's a ninth template that's automatically added in here. It's a luxury template. You'll be able to choose it. It characteristically features a black banner. Here's an example of, let's see, KC Living 365 is one I can remember.com. Oh my goodness, hang on a second. Something's funky about that. Let me do that again. KC Living 365. There you go. There, it looks just like the Madison, but it features the black heading with the luxury logo on it. Sometimes people say, how do you get the black banner on the Madison? You can't. You have to be a luxury agent to get that. You'll notice the color choices for Madison are everything but black. It's not a choice. You can go for dark navy. It's kind of black. If you're a commercial agent, there's a ninth template that's added. I mean, a 10th template that's added for commercial agents. I don't have an example to show you. You can use that. So pick through a template that you like. You can always go back and reselect them again, choose different ones. The last thing on the Madison I'll show you is this statement. I don't necessarily agree with the statement. I don't like it so much, but I'll show you how it looks. Let's see. Call me today for a free cup of coffee. How about that? I'll just put that in there. Cough free. See what I did there? How funny. It wasn't even on purpose. All right. I'll let you see what that looks like, and you can draw your own conclusion here. Here we go. There's the treehouse finder in Plymouth. Recycle it. It's stale. Here comes the fresh version back into the Madison. I got a blue Madison. And if you see the statement, I just think it potentially gets lost there, depending on what your image looks like. It's always going to be white font, sans serif, large, narrow, white font in the middle. Sometimes people will put in the statement and decide, like, I don't like it, they don't like it, and they'll try to get it removed. And here's a funky little thing. If you come down into your theme selection, I'll put myself back on red for another reason, for another example. If I came down here and said, okay, I want to not put in a statement, I'll just save that. And you go look at your website, it sticks for some reason. Look at that. Even though I didn't put one in, it's still there. And then one day I was like, well, what can we do about that? And I realized, what if you just went down, and if that happens to you, hit the space bar to put a space for your statement, and that'll clear it up. So it's still there. It's just not perceivable. Should go away. There we go. All right, so there's an option. All right, let's change gears and go to slideshow. Yes, sure. Let's see what you got. Everybody else can go ahead and click on slideshow, and we'll talk about that next.
Okay, so I'm in the design and I want that website, so I hit save. And then if I go up to here and I hit refresh.
Okay, thanks for coming. Close the page out and then go back over to the launch site. Top right launch site. This one. View item. That looks like Plymouth. You're in the Plymouth now.
But I don't have the, I wanted the.
Oh, go back to it. Let me see what you want. Show me what you want. Okay. That's the one you want. Yep.
Yeah.
So, oh, you're looking for the house. I got you. Okay. So here's the question, everybody. That's worth looking at real quick. So, is it Ashley? No, I forgot your name. I'm sorry.
I forgot your name. Sharon. What Sharon asked, and I think this is worth looking at for a second. Sharon says, hey, look, I'm over here. I'm going down here to the Plymouth. I hear this from time to time. And I like this house shot. I want to do the house shot. And she's coming down and she's saving it and then going and looking at her website, and it's not showing the house shot, right? What's happening is the very first time you go to these templates and you choose one, the default example images that you show here will be loaded up, right? And as you change colors, the default images are different based on the color choice. It's just how the designer loaded them up. Green Plymouth features this image, whereas red Plymouth features this image. And once you've selected it or made a change to it, it tends to forget those original images. But here's the good news. Those are all available on the next area. Come back and put myself where I need my website. Those are all available. We just finished up theme selection. Look at slideshow. If you go into slideshow, the image you're after, Sharon, will be here. So you'll get it under slideshow. This allows me to get control over the slideshows that are showing up. Now, my first one is Treehouse version 3, which is a custom one I built. You're not going to have that. What you're going to start with is interiors. And as you notice, I can thumb through and look and see different slides. There's a maximum of 5 slides per slideshow. These are the built-in ones. Here's another one called Variety. This is the default, by the way. If you've never made any setting changes to your website, you just launched it and looked at it, you would be on the Madison with the red banner and the Variety slideshow. This looks like this. If I come down here to luxury properties, we get these 5 slides. If I come down to mid-price, there's the house you're looking for, right? And it comes with these 5 slides. So forth. There's another one down here called nature. You can choose any one of those. Let's say I go over here to, I want to choose, well, I'm going to choose variety for a minute. And there's a reason. I'll show you. If I wanted to choose variety, I would come down here and select. We're going to play around with this one for a minute. And now I'm looking at another page that allows me to drill in deeper and take a look at each slide individually, and there's activities I can take against them. I can, first off, I can delete any image that I want to and replace it with another image. I can add captions or take away captions. They have built-in, the built-in photos always have a built-in caption, but you can take those out and change the caption. Captions show up in the bottom left-hand corner. A little bit better than the statement. Remember the statement that was real big that I hated? Captions, I think, serve a little bit better. You can even make them clickable. The images could be clicked on, and they would go to a destination that you specify with this link field. An example, somebody raised their hand one day up in class, like, what would you do with that? Why would you take out and delete an image and upload another image and then add a caption and then put a link to it? And then as soon as she asked that question, girl across the way answered. She said, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete all these images, and I'm going to upload the curb shot for all my listings that have virtual tours. And then in the caption, I'm going to say, click on the picture to visit my virtual tour, and in the link, I'm going to put a link to my virtual tour. And I was like, that is brilliant. Think about that. You could change all your slides out and put lead shots for your listings and link to virtual tours. I thought that was pretty good. Or to further listing details. Somebody else was telling me, you know what I think I'll do? I'll take one of these images out and put a high, or not a high resolution, but a nice photo of my team. And then I'll put in the caption, click here to meet the team, and I'll put a link that says, you know, that takes you to the information page on my team. Or somebody else said, you know, maybe I'll run a promotion or special on something. You know, free home staging seminar at open house this Saturday. Maybe I'll make a flyer and put it in that one of those slots. And in the caption say, click here to attend this free home staging class, and then put a link for more details. I thought those are all pretty good examples. You can play around with that, figure out what you might want to do or do nothing with it at all. I'm going to just lock this in. I'm going to come down and say, you know what, no changes. I'm not going to remove anything or change any captions. I'm just going to save this and just go look at my web page now and see what I think about it. So it's coming out of Plymouth, going back to Madison with a red banner, and now I've got the variety slideshow in there and we should see the slides start sliding. There they go. So this looks a little bit more, this is a more of a default Placester setup right here. This is looking a lot kind of like how they first start. And as I'm looking at this and deciding what I think about those slides, I can tell you I like all of them but one. And the one slide I don't like, seems like I'm zoomed in a lot here today. Okay, here we go. The one slide I don't like is coming up. It's this one. I'm going to stop that one. I'm going to say, here we go. Right, I have a problem with this one because it doesn't really support my Atlanta business of real estate, does it? You know, it's a beach. So I can tackle this. I can come in to my slideshow and go find the one that's in use. If you forgot the name of it, always look for the blue circle and a white check. There it is, blue circle with a white check. It's the variety slideshow. I'm going to select that, and what I could do is go down to the image I don't like. There it is, and I could delete it. Here we go. I'm going to delete that right here. And now I have a choice to make. I've got choice number one is I could just stop right where I'm at, come down and save this, and turn my 5-slide slideshow into a 4-slide slideshow. And I could be done. And that could work just fine. Another thing I could do would be to maybe replace that image. Let me recycle the page here for a minute. Take a look at it. So here we are. I even see the little dots over here in the bottom right are down 4, not 5. So I know that beach shot is gone. That's what the 4-slide slideshow looks like. Nobody even be the wiser. But if you're like me, you're thinking there is a 5th slot. I'd like to add an image if I can, I guess. If I'm going to do a slideshow. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look for my slideshow that's in use. And again, the blue circle, the white check is what we're looking for. And I'll tell you that oftentimes people ask me, they'll say, I deleted the beach shot, but then changed my mind and I want it back. How can you get it back? Well, notice this. I've got the variety. There it is, slide 1 of 4. If I keep coming down, look at this. There's variety, slide 1 of 5. The original is still intact. The deal is they don't ever delete or change the original. If you make the slightest change to any of them, then what happens is it spawns a new version called the original name with parentheses custom behind it, which is why I point out the blue circle, white check. It can get confusing, like which one is in use, right? So it's that one there with the 4 slides. So if you wanted to reinstate the beach shot, I could come here to the original and select it, and the beach shot is in there. Y'all with me on that? I'm going to the customized one though, because I'm going to play around for a minute. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look at my different slides. I like all the rest, but I decided I want to upload an image. So let's spend a few minutes talking about uploading and using images. What do you think the most important thing is when it comes to adding images to your website? Anybody have an idea what that might be? I'll give you a hint. I gave you a clue earlier today when I was talking about my testimonies. What happened to me when I did my testimonies?
You have to be careful about license.
Yes.
Permission to use photos.
That is, I was going to say it's serious business. It's also big business, y'all. The most important thing is to make sure you have permission to use images. And I'll share with you a story that happened here at this office when I was teaching the Placester class about 2 years ago. In the class, somebody said, hey, blogs. No, we don't do blogs in the class. And we don't. It's not part of our setup. They do have blog features, and we can get into that in a content class, but we just didn't cover that in the setup. We don't do it today. And so the class had asked, well, would you just show us at the end, it's the end of our time, will you show us how to do one? I said, sure. So the idea was to add a blog to my Treehouse Finder website. So I went to Pete Nelson's blog, who's the Treehouse webmaster guy. I don't know if y'all ever see that show, but they build the luxury tree houses, Pete Nelson. And I went and I just borrowed some stuff from his website. I went and copied a couple paragraphs, and I downloaded an image. And I was like telling everybody, now don't do this, but I'm just quickly putting this together and showing you. So, I added a blog post. I used the content, the text and the photo. I uploaded it and displayed how it looked, and everybody was very happy. Said, okay, now we know how to add a blog post. And then I forgot that I'd put it on my website. So 6 or 10 weeks later, I get a phone call from the Keller Williams office, and they said, hey, you got a stack of mail over here at Sandy Springs. you want us to open it? And I said, yeah, who's it from? They said, it's from a company called Getty Images. And it was kind of, I remember they said, did you buy something? I remember when they asked me that, did you buy something? And I thought immediately, I was like, I probably did. You know, I knew immediately. And so they got to the most recent letter, and I'll just cut to the chase and tell you it was a demand letter for $1,600 because I had used that treehouse picture. And I was just floored. I couldn't believe. So it's serious business and it's big business because they were relentless on that. I called them, of course. I called them and didn't tell them I was the technology guy. I just said, hey, I'm a guy that's got to teach this class and for my job. And look, it's not even a real site. It's a play-like site. And I accidentally, sorry, but I accidentally put, you know, content I didn't have permission for. It was a mistake. I told the guy the whole story. And said, I just want to be forgiven for this. Can we just forget it, you know? And he said, let me call you back, which they did. And he came back and said, good news, we're going to reduce your fine by 50%, which was nice, but it was still $800. It was almost $900 when it was all said and done. And so I had to go to my boss, Gene Rawls, and say, I made a mistake, a $900, $850 mistake or whatever. And fortunately, we work for a company that believes in their people. And she's, you know, very flexible with that and said, okay, we failed forward. We learned from our mistakes. Cost of doing business, go ahead and pay the fine. And then she asked me, she said, but how are we going to get this message across to everybody? And I said, I'm thinking maybe a public service announcement in all of my classes from now on. So you've just gotten the public service announcement. I share that with every class. But really, I hope you take that home and you realize, man, that is serious. You know, turns out that there's departments for these companies that's all they do is find violators. It's a very condemning process that they photograph your website next to their cataloged image and their serial number. And the guy told me, he said, the reason I can't give you a better deal is that we already paid the royalties to the photographer on the image, and we can't recoup that. So for what that's worth, I don't know, maybe that's truthful, maybe it's embellished a little bit, you know. But that was just alarming, and so that was very frustrating to go through that process. And before I add an image here, I want to share with you a couple of resources, and I want to share a cautionary tale too. I'll show you something of caution. But where can you get images and not be in hot water? I like Pixabay. I've been using Pixabay ever since I got myself in a little bit of trouble. And so far, no lawyers, so that's good. Pixabay.com, stunning free images. And you can go in here and you can pick these images, which are, my website today has almost all Pixabay content. When I do training material and marketing material, I use Pixabay. And with a little bit of creativity, you can find what you're looking for. It's not an exhaustive catalog. It doesn't compare to going to Getty Images. Their catalog is way better, yes.
Is there a way to take images from the different options on the website?
You can just right-click on them and choose Save the Image, and that's acceptable.
So I can go, so if I took the luxury home thing and I want to check out one, I can go into a different one and grab a picture of it and just use that?
Yep, you got it.
So we can mix and match.
Yeah, how about that? I don't get that question very often. I usually don't bring it up, but you're absolutely right. I did the same thing that you're thinking, and it works just fine. So right-click on it and choose Save the Image, and then you can play with it and get it into another slideshow. So you could cherry pick a couple images from different slideshows and make your own.
Right.
Yeah, you sure could. Sure. Look at this example here where I'm doing Atlanta skyline at Pixabay. The reason I'm doing Atlanta skyline is this seems to be a very popular offense that I see. I think a lot of folks want to get the skyline on their website. So I'll use this as an example. The first row are sponsored images. They're for sale, so they're not free. And by the way, last time I checked, they're almost all sponsored by Getty Images, so you know, don't be messing around with those. But then below that first row, these are available, and you can play with these. And you can download them and you put them in your website. Now, here's a bit of information. If you're uploading an image for your slideshow, remember we're filling this space. We're filling this rectangular space here, like in this kitchen or in that landscape there. It's a rectangular shape. And if you're making notes today, you can jot down that the specification for that rectangle is 1,600 pixels wide by 660 pixels high. is the perfect fit.
Say it one more time, 1600.
I won't say it again. You have to go back and watch YouTube. It's 1600 by 660. Will get you the perfect fit. That's as I understand it, at any rate. And if that doesn't make sense to you, and you're looking at these images going, well, how am I going to find that perfect fit? One thing you can do to help is remember you're trying to fill a rectangle. So if you're picking these images, go for the rectangular over a square. Like this one in the middle, that's not going to work so well in the area we're trying to fill. In fact, what's going to happen is the system will crop dead center and make a rectangle, and you'll end up getting just a middle cross section of that image. Whereas if you go pick something like this is very rectangular, and that would actually fit geometrically in the footprint. I don't particularly like that image so much for some reason, but you can go find some other ones. Now, if you really liked one of these and said, well, I've just got to use one that's not so rectangular, you could go in and you could crop it. You could download and crop the image with third-party software and get the results maybe that you want. I'm going to pick one. I'm going to try, I think I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to do this one because I know what's going to happen. It's going to crop it dead center. Let me try to find a rectangular one and use my own advice. I'll do this one. Let's do this one. I'm going to click on it, a little Midtown action. So when I click on it, I'm going to choose free downloads. Look at my choices for free download. It comes up and says I can choose 640 by 225, 1280 by 450, 1920 by 675, or 3072 by 1080. Remember the specification I gave you? 1600 by 660. Keep that in mind. Here's the principle. Have you ever tried to upload an image that was smaller than the intended footprint on a web page, and it stretches it out, and what does it look like? Junk, right? It gets pixelated and it's distorted. But have you ever taken an image that was big and forced it into a smaller footprint, you don't lose the quality. Most systems generally just go ahead and accommodate it, and you don't lose quality. So the idea is to pick a number over here that's larger than your specification, which would be the third one, right? 1920 by 675 is larger than 1600 by 660. Even if this number was close, like if this 675 was like, let's say 650, I'd still go for it. You know, it's close enough. The worst that's going to happen is it may crop a little portion of it out. Not a big deal. But that number right there is going to fit for our project. So I'm going to say download. 3072 would work as well, but there's no sense in loading a large image there because it could slow down the load time of your computer, of your website. So we'll go for as best fit we can get. I'm going to prove that I'm not a robot. I'm going to download that, and notice that my download has begun. This is Chrome browser, so the download goes to the bottom left. There it is. And I have successfully downloaded that image without putting a single piece of my information into Pixabay, right? I didn't have to create an account, didn't have to log in. I didn't have to agree to anything, really, other than the fact that I downloaded is your agreement to the terms, I'm sure. But there's the image available for me to use. And I'm going to load that up. I'm going to go back to my Placester control panel, slide number 5, and I'm going to capitalize on that availability there. Let's see if I can find it. Where was it? 5:22 at 2. It's 2:30 already? Wow. Time goes by. There it is. I'm going to upload that and save it and take a peek and see how that looks now. Recycle the page. I see I got my 5 dots back, so I know it's going to come up. See how it looks here. There it is. Not too bad. It's definitely doable, right? And you could crop that and get better results, or different results anyway. Actually, I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks pretty good if I wanted to do an Atlanta skyline. You know, you could do puppy dogs if you wanted to. For some reason, you could go and find whatever content you want at Pixabay, load it up there. You could maybe get yourself a nice ranch house or something like that if you wanted to get a farm look or something, you know. I'm going to go back into slideshow for a minute. And if you'll remember how I had mine set up where I had a single image, here's what I did. I went down, when I created this treehouse V3, what I had done was I just made a single, can't let go of it, there you go. I made a single image slideshow. There's our current one, right? Blue check, blue circle, white check.
watch this. I'm going to go into select this. I could, if I wanted to get that look and feel of a single image, I could just delete these extra slides that I don't even need, don't care about really. Get rid of all those. Oop, keep that one there. I could even come back up here and rename this slideshow. Look, right there, variety, parentheses, custom. I could just say Atlanta Skyline. You see how I'm taking control of things here and just making them mine, you know, using what I want out of them. There we go. Save that. Now, if I go to my slideshows, there should be one in there called Atlanta Skyline. There it is. One slide of one. Go look at my website, recycle the page, see what it looks like. That would probably look pretty good, maybe look pretty good in Plymouth. Just curious. Let's see, theme selection. Oops. Yeah, theme selection, Plymouth. We'll do a gray Plymouth, see what that looks like. I'm just curious. See how easy this is to go through now? You know the pieces, you can go through and flip things around and make changes. If I had a perfect logo, that would look good. That's looking pretty good, though. See, I think Plymouth really handled that image pretty well, that particular image, you know? So you might have to just make some choices, play around with things a little bit. Let's press forward. Slideshow, let's go down. Here's what I want to do. We're going to cover certification, social networks, and so forth. But what I want to do is I want to jump down to site info because it is important that we cover that, and I want to get that while we're still fresh and not run out of time. And then once we do site info, we'll get through all that, and we'll come back up and work our way down to the bottom, and then we'll break. So site info, about 5 down there. And there are some compliance things we're going to have to deal with here. So I want to make sure we get them tackled. There's a brand that we're going to play with. There's some contact details we're going to play with. And there's some office details we're going to play with. We're not going to get into SEO today. That's not part of our class today. Well, let's talk about these different items. So what we're doing with site info, a lot of what goes on at site info gets us control over these areas up here, these banner areas. Close some of this extra stuff here. So we're getting control over what's going on the banner up here. Now, before I do any choices here, I do need to set my site back with a couple of examples I've got worked out that I want to make sure we cover, and so I need to be in red Madison to do that. Okay. So now I should be back in the red Madison. There we go. All right. So I'm going to come back down into site info, and we're going to tackle some of these things. So brand name and tagline. For my brand name, I put welcome to treehousefinder.com, and my tagline I put looking for a simple backyard feature, recreational retreat, or luxury canopy. We're here to help. And maybe you've got an idea of a brand name and a tagline for your business, or maybe you don't. A lot of times folks seem to be kind of stressed out over branding their website at this point, and that may be something that you can't really get your thumb on just now. Maybe you need to get some content in your website and think about your business before you're ready to do that. But if you have an idea for your brand name and tagline, here's an opportunity to put yours in. If you don't, though, I would tell you that the more important than coming up with a world-class brand name right now is probably learning the brand name and tagline positions on the website and how they look. For example, if I come up here, here is the brand right there, brand name. Whatever you type in the brand name field is going to come up right here. It's going to be positioned in this location. It's going to be treated with this large sans serif font. It's going to be in white. And then whatever you type in the tagline section is going to be put here. Smaller font, lower than the brand name, a little bit bolder. It can take up to 3 lines wrapped, so it can be kind of lengthy if you want it to be for some reason, or you can make it short. And if you can't come up with a brand name or a tagline, call to actions probably are a good thing to use here. Let me go back to brand name for a minute. For my situation, I used Welcome to Treehouse Finder because the web address is treehousefinder.com. That's not a web address that KW gave me. That's a web address that I bought. That's a different topic, how to convert your web address from your default. And we can talk about that on a one-on-one call or after class today if you're here to get a domain name configured. But my domain name is treehousefinder.com, which lends itself to the branding, right? So that's why I used welcome to treehousefinder.com. And then, of course, I put a value proposition in there, looking for a simple backyard feature. If you've got something in mind,
a domain you plan to buy or that you already own, you could kind of build off of this. Welcome to, then your domain name, that could work. If you're drawing a blank, though, some ideas could be for your brand name is to put in a call to action or something along the lines of maybe, you know, something like call for a free buyer-seller consultation. That's very generic, but consultation. You could be more specific for something that you offer. And if you don't know a good tagline, you could put in KW's tagline, which is because your move matters. That's a very boilerplated tagline that people have used for years. It's on a lot of KW collateral that you can use. So look how that looks. If I come down here and save it, say OK. Did I misspell call? Oh, no, I didn't. Call for a free buyers or seller consultation. So you can see where I just put in something in there. It's more of a call to action rather than a brand statement. Because your move matters. You can put that in there. You can leave because your move matters. You can leave that blank if you wanted to. I'll leave that with you to play around with it. There's no compliance rules in the brand name. You know, one that I thought about on the way over here, though, was not a call to action in the brand name, but something like, I just want to see what this looks like. What if you put something that you specialize in, something you're really good at? So, like if it was for me, tree houses, you know, we specialize in finding amazing tree houses. I mean, it's just that simple, but it, you know, call today so we can start looking now. I don't know. You know, it's making this a call to action, starting with a verb so that I can make it something that's telling them to do something on your website. And that something, I keep using the word something because what I'm leading to is that something is always interaction with me, right? So I'm going to say, call today, email today, click here, fill out a form, and I will call you back. You know, that kind of stuff, call to actions. But let's see if I refresh the page. I'm just curious to see how that kind of thing looks. We specialize in finding amazing tree houses. Call today so we can start looking now. I wasn't thinking of that when I was driving, but I was like, yeah, put a specialization in there. That could work. I think I still agree with that, my thoughts on that. Put a specialization in there. What is it that you do? What value do you bring to the real estate situation that would pinch a nerve on your target demographic? You know, I specialize in special financing. I specialize in you know, short sales or something like that. I know those are very cliche, but I'm just trying to give you something to fit in that blank. You have to figure out what it is that you bring to the table and try to incorporate that. And also, if that's something you'd like help with, that'd be a good example of getting on my schedule. When it's not an environment like this, when we're one-on-one, I'll be happy to go through and try to help you brainstorm some branding ideas and taglines. I've got some tools that we can use to help do that. So work something out there. If you come up with a total blank, you can leave it blank, or you can get in there and put the because your move matters, which is a very common thing. I'm going to put that in there. I think I like that better right now. And let's focus on the logo. Uploading a logo. This is an area of compliance where we've got to do this right. We've got to get the logo right. And so we're going to be uploading a file. We're going to upload the file button. Before I can push that, I've got to get my hands on the correct logo. There's more than one place you can get the correct logo. You can get it at kw.com. You can get it on your Market Center intranet. I like to get it, however, from Rawls Group Help Desk. And I'll show you why. If you go to my website, rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com, and if you scroll to the very bottom of the page, if you scroll to the bottom of any page, all my pages have the same footer at the bottom. There's this quick links in the bottom. If you go to quick links, you can pick training calendars, schedule a tech session, even print drivers if you need to get the printers installed for here. And then MC logos, Market Center logos is the last item. If you click through that, it'll take you to a page featuring all 6 of the Rawls Group Market Center logos. And here we are at First Atlanta. If I click on that, it's going to begin a download. And what it's downloading, there it is, the bottom left-hand corner, is a zip file. You ever worked with a zip file before? It's a collection of files inside of a folder, a special folder that you download, right? Or email to somebody. What's inside of this zip file is this logo, the Keller Williams First Atlanta logo, but it's repeated in different formats. It's in JPEG file format. It's in PNG format, TIFF format, CMYK format. It's also featured in different color schemes. It's got the red KW with the black lettering like you see, but it also has the white KW with white lettering, black and white. It's got all white. It's got some of them are gray. Different choices for different scenarios. So before I can use this zip file, I've got to unzip it. I'm going to say show in folder, and I'm going to unzip this file. Here it is with the zip logo on there. There's the zipper. I'm going to right click on that zip file and choose to extract all. And I'm just going to accept the defaults here, and that should produce a folder with the same name. There it is, 156 First Atlanta, and it's opened up in my downloads. There's the contents of my zip file. There's the same logo, which is different formats. So this is handy if you're working with a vendor and they're doing a coffee mug for you or a t-shirt for you, and they say, hey, for your bumper sticker campaign, do you have an office logo? You can say, yeah, let me just send you the link to this logo and let them download it and figure out which format works best for the project. In fact, that's what these are over here, these links. If you copy that link, you can just put that in an email to somebody and say, yeah, download the link. There it is right there, and they'll be downloading the First Atlanta logo. Here's how we're going to use it. I'm going to go back to the Placester, and I'm going to click on Upload a File. And let me just say that sometimes I feel like this topic can get lost with some people. And if that happens to you, just sit back for a minute, watch what I do, and gain what you can out of it, and know that I will not let you leave here today incomplete. We'll make sure we get the right logo for you today and help you. But if you're familiar with zip files, this will be, and it's old hat to you, this will be something you can just click along with me. But here we go. I'm going to say upload the file, and now, of course, I have a dialog to find my file. And I unzipped my download into the downloads folder. There it is. And the unzipped version is called 156 First Atlanta. There's all my choices. For most things we do in the web, it's common that the RGB is going to work for us. We get a lot of stuff out of the RGB. I'm going to go into RGB now, and I've got 3 candidate files to play with. The first one, if I hover over these, I get a little information balloon that pops up telling me the type of file. That's my first interest. What type of file is it? It's a JPEG. You see that versus JPG, item type JPG. If I come over here and hover, it says item type is a PNG file. And if I go to this one, it says item type is a PNG file. And for our purposes today, what you need to know, the difference between a JPEG and a PNG is the JPEG features the logo on a solid white background, rectangular background, whereas the PNG files feature a transparent background, and that becomes very handy. Let me show you what I mean. If I take this JPEG image, which features a red KW with black lettering presented on a white rectangular background, if I upload that, before I come down to the bottom and save, there's my save button. Before I hit that, I do want to point out that there's this question, display the logo and display name and tagline. You got to have a check in these if you want your name and tagline and your logo to display. Sometimes these get unchecked and people will tell me, I uploaded my logo 10 times and it's still not showing up. And it's because you got to make sure display logo is checked. Watch the results on my screen. If I hit save, I just uploaded the JPEG. I'm going to recycle the web page, take a look and see what we get. What do y'all think about that? That's a problem, right? Now, one easy way to fix that would be I could come over to my site design, theme selection, take myself off of the red banner and put myself on the clear banner, white banner. Now, if I go look at it, what does it look like? It's going to be passable. Now, that actually looks good, doesn't it? It works, but it's just coincidence that the white is on white there, so it's blended. If I change my color banner, I'm in trouble. Go back to my color banner here, put it back on red, save. So look at these other options. Go back, recycle it. All right, so we're back into the first problem again. Now if I come back into site design, or excuse me, site info, I'm going to upload. And this time, here's my last choice, the RGB JPEG. Here we go, I'm going to choose a PNG file. This features red lettering, with black lettering on a clear background. Pop that in for a minute, take a look, and see what that looks like. Recycle the page. Oh my gosh, got problems, doesn't it? First off, it's hard to see the lettering right in there. And I lost my KW because the KW is red and the banner's red. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see if I go to site info, upload image. Let me do this one here. It features a red KW with white lettering. Upload that one, just see how it looks. Now we're getting somewhere. You can see the lettering. Still got to deal with this KW. Of course, if that was a different color, it would still look a lot better. I go to theme selection. Sometimes that red looks really good on something like the gray. I'm changing. See what I'm doing? I'm changing my gray. Now I got a gray banner. I've got solid banner check. Save it. Go look at it. Now if I go in and look, it's going to be passable. It's not bad, right? Looks pretty good. Red can work on a dark color. But if you have a dark colored banner, like the red banner, which a lot of folks do because of KW obviously being red. Final answer here, I'll show you. We'll move on. So now there's my problem. I lost my KW in there because it's red on red. Here I go. Site info down there. I'm going to upload a file, and this time what I'm going to choose, I'm going to come out of the RGB folder. I'm going to tap on the parent folder there, and now I'm going to go into the black and white folder. For the website, you're not going to use CMYK or PMS 200.
When you use those?
You're going to use those for, one of those is going to be for larger files, like I think TIFFs inside of there. TIFFs are for like billboards, big things. And then some of these other ones, CMYK, I don't know what that's for, to be honest with you. You got me. I didn't want to say that on YouTube, but you got me. All right, here's the black and white folder. And I'm just going to show you that the first one, if I hover over, is a JPEG. The next one is a PNG. Next one's PNG. Next one's PNG. So you know these three feature clear backgrounds. The JPEG has a white rectangle. That's problematic. The right answer for this, in the sake of time, I'll go ahead and get to it, is this one. It may be difficult to see what this looks like from your seat, but I'll tell you what it is. It's a red KW with red Keller Williams lettering presented on a clear background. There, you might be able to see a little bit better if I click on it. And that's going to look great on a red or a very dark banner. So here we go. Recycle the page. And you can see how sharp that looks. Way better. And the reason I like to take people to the Rawls group help desk to get the image is often when you ask somebody for the image, you get the JPEG. It's just so popular. Everybody's like, oh, here's the image. There's the office image. I can't tell you how many projects, whether it's website or marketing, that I see that JPEG white square slapped on a green background or something. And it's like, oh, gosh, it's so bad, you know. And I think it's because people just don't realize that you've got all these options. So whether you got stumped on the zip part or you're not sure, what I want you to know is JPEG has a solid background, PNG gets transparent. If you learned that much today, I think you, on images, you're ahead of the game in a lot of cases. You can at least know to tell somebody, hey, I need a PNG there, and then we'll figure out how the logistics of it. Does that make sense? So I've got the logo that I like. Let's press on. Back under site info. We just finished up with our upload a logo. We're doing good enough on time that I will share the favicon real quick. I don't always share this, but I'll pack it in. The favicon, who knows what a favicon is? Ever heard of a favicon before? It's these guys right here. Look, this tab for Pixabay, do you see that green logo that says PX for Pixabay? That is the website favicon for Pixabay. Look at Placester right here. They've got this little triangular logo. Can y'all see that at the very, very top? That's Placester's favicon. If you go to Treehouse Finder, you got this white background red KW favicon, aka this one right here that I've uploaded. If you look at the Rawls group, I managed to put in the #1 KW image as my favicon. So when you go to a website, the website tab, depending on what browser you're in, or the website URL if you're in Safari, will show the little icon associated with the website. And so for mine, I've got this white background with the red KW, which I custom built this to fit, and it works really good in a white tab. And you can get your hands on this file to upload it if you go to Rawls Group helpdesk.com. Can't talk. Any page they all have this search at the top. Search right here and type Favicon for Favicon, one word. If you search Favicon, you'll get a result right there. KW Favicon. If I click on it, you get this little help article that I wrote on favicons. You see, this is a screenshot of Safari. Safari puts the favicon right there in front of the web address. And there's the image right there that I used. You can just right-click on it to save it. Save image as, and save it onto your downloads or your computer. Heck, I think you can even double-click that thing. Yeah. If you double-click it, it comes down as a zip file. But if you just right-click on it, it comes down as a straight image. One way or the other. Once you've downloaded this image, now go back to your Placester and upload it. And it'll produce whatever image you upload. Now, one day I was bored, and I took my headshot, and I uploaded it in here to see what would happen. And sure enough, it managed to put my headshot, just little bitty, as a favicon on my webpage. It was weird. It actually represented very well. I used to think favicons were sort of like vanity license plates, so to speak. You know, kind of vanity. I didn't think they were served much of a purpose other than a little bit of brand reinforcement. But in the class, a couple years ago, I took a class on some content optimization and SEO, and we were talking about Google's formula. And not only does Google do a mobile readiness check that we talked about, it also will look for a favicon. If you don't have a favicon, it'll score you a little bit lower. If you do have a favicon, I know it's silly, it'll push you a little bit higher, just a little bit. It's not going to make or break your position overall. I mean, you know, but hey, those are easy things you can do. And when I heard that one day, when I heard that in the class, I was like, okay, there's reason to put a favicon. I'll try to pack that into my website class when I can. So I think we had time to talk about that. If you had trouble with that, afterwards, let me know. I'll come by your desk and help you get that favicon in there. Or if you've got a different favicon you want, I'll help you get that in there. All right, keep on pushing down to contact details. And you can go ahead and do this part. Put in your name, put in your email, put in your best phone number, and put in your best photo if you brought a photo with you today. I crack myself up because I say this every time, but I got to tell you too, you know how I know this is my best photo? Because if I go see my granny, who's 94 years old, she's got this picture in a frame on her nightstand in her bedroom. I'm not kidding you. I walked by one day and I saw that. And I was like, Granny, you got my corporate picture framed? She's like, oh, it's so lovely. You got a tie on, you know, and you're smiling, and your hair is brushed. So if you've got a granny-approved photo, you know you got something. Go ahead and put that on your website if you got one handy. She cracks me up. 94 years old, sharp as a tack. Once you get your name and your email and your phone number and your photo in there, I want you to sit back and watch for a minute because I'm going to go through something and show you some compliance. And rather than you follow through all the steps I'm doing to get to the final answer, just take a break and watch for a minute what I'm doing. We're going to put in office details. You can actually type that in if you want. Go ahead and get that in, but don't save your work yet. So Keller Williams, First Atlanta is where we are. You can get that in there. You have the choice. You can put First Keller Williams Realty First Atlanta, or you can do Keller Williams First Atlanta. I usually don't put the realty in there because our logos don't have the word realty in there, so I usually follow the logo. Email address you leave blank. Phone number 404-531-5700 is the broker's phone number here. You need to put that number in. Address for this location, 200 Glen Ridge Point Parkway. It's fine to put it in all caps. I don't know why it's all caps there, but that's fine. Atlanta, Georgia, and it's going to be 30342. You can go ahead and get that far. Just don't save it yet. Office details, Keller Williams First Atlanta or Keller Williams Realty First Atlanta, 404-531-5700. Y'all probably have heard this a million times, but there it is. So now if I save pardon me, I just keep hiccuping there. If I save that the way I've got it, it creates a compliance issue. And here it is. If I recycle my page, get all that in there correctly, what's going on is there's a rule that says if you advertise listings, which we're advertising listings, there they are, of course, that you can't have your name more prominent than the broker, right? Have you heard that? It's broker prominence, I believe is what they call that. And so where the violation's happening is my name is showing up on the website more than the broker's name. Here's the broker's name right here, First Atlanta, one time. And then if I go down this page, I won't see it again until I get down here at the bottom. There it is a second time in the middle, right there, broker's name. And then over here it doesn't count because that's not the broker's name. That's Keller Williams, but that's a nationwide brand. That's not, Greg doesn't recognize that, right? Greg recognizes Keller Williams First Atlanta. So Keller Williams shows up twice, but my name shows up once there. And in this particular template, for sure, it shows up there in the middle. I don't know if they all do that, but this one does for sure. And then it shows up again 3 times. So my name 3 times, First Atlanta 2 times. I know it sounds insignificant, but while we're talking about this, the reason we're talking about it is because agents, even in this office, have showed us citations. They've gotten $500 fine from Greg because their name showed up more times on their website than the broker's name, which to me seems so amazing. I just couldn't get my head around that. But other licensees, competitive licensees, sometimes will report those kind of things, and sometimes our agents get reported. So we talked about that and said, what can we do to reduce that liability? And it came across that, well, what if you did this? What if instead of writing your name, and this I don't want you to necessarily step through each step because I'm going to give you a final answer, but watch me progress through this. If I went in and said Scott Hardy with Keller Williams Realty, and there it is right there, Keller Williams Realty. Take that out. I don't like the realty part. Even that's acceptable. Scott Hardy with Keller Williams First Atlanta. If I save that now, every place where my name is positioned, recycle the page, the broker's name is going to be present. And it levels out the numbers, right? So now Scott Hardy shows up 3 times as before, but First Atlanta is showing up right there in the logo once, and now right next to my name twice, 3 times, 4 times, because it's right there with my name, 5 times. So now we're in compliance, right? We're good. Little trick there to help. But of course, a lot of times people say, you know, this is sort of ugly to have it written out like that, especially there where it wraps it in a funny place. Up here it's getting really long. And this is one of my favorite tips. I love this tip. It's fun to share. And this is what I want you to do. We figured this out one day, just playing around. We learned that these fields here take text, but they also accept basic inline HTML commands. And here's an HTML command that you can use. If you type your name like this, Scott Hardy, don't put Scott Hardy, but put your name with Keller Williams First Atlanta, but instead of with, if you type it like this, and I'm trying to highlight that, my mouse keeps moving and stealing the focus away. There we go. Oh, come here. Wow, the tech guy is going to show you how to use a mouse today. Instead of the word with, I'm going to do an open bracket, BR, close bracket. And what that command is, the BR stands for break return. And what that means is that whatever follows this string of text, everything after this string of text goes on the next line, like a break return in typing. And with HTML, the command itself doesn't write out on the screen, so the users won't see that. So now that I've written it that way, and that's how I want you to write it for yourself. Your name, open bracket, BR, close bracket, and then Keller Williams Realty First Atlanta or Keller Williams First Atlanta. Whatever you choose, I recommend you match it here for the company name, Keller Williams Realty First Atlanta or Keller Williams First Atlanta. Once you've done that and save it, now when I go to my page, it's going to look just a little bit better. It's just a clever little hack. I love simple little clever things like that. Look at that. There's my name, and then there's Keller Williams First Atlanta below it. We break return to the bottom there. And it makes things fit a little bit better, a little bit prettier. No clapping? I mean, come on, isn't that a cool? Okay, thank you. Y'all are good sports. All right, now that we've gotten through that compliance issue with the site info, let's go ahead and, anybody get stuck on that? Everybody good? Okay, let's come on back up where we left off and let's get into certifications. Some of these other things will go a little bit faster. Certifications. Click through certifications and you're presented with a gallery of images that serve on your website. If you see a certification that you own, you can go ahead and click on it. You can select a maximum, you can display a maximum of 6 images. The system will let you click more than 6, but it'll choose the first 6 starting from the top square left to right in descending order. The first 6 that it encounters that are selected will get put on your website. I don't know why they max it out. So if you own any of these certifications, tap on them. Find Equal Housing Opportunity, tap on that one. Find National Association of Realtors, tap on that one at least, so you got those 2. Find any others that you have and then hit save. At the top, I used to make the mistake of saying, don't forget ABR, put your Atlanta Board of Realtors up there, until somebody once pointed that out. They said, you know, that's not Atlanta Board of Realtors, that's Accredited Buyers Resource. I thought that's information that would have been good 6 months ago because I've been saying it wrong for quite a while. So anyway, that's Accredited Buyers Resource. I'm going to save that, and my choices will show up in the footer on my website. In this region here towards the bottom, there they are. So you get these certifications. Feature request I would like to have is that we could upload our own images. Even if it were to, you upload them and it got this treatment, see the washed out look. I don't know what you call that when you do it, but even that would be acceptable. But there's currently not a way to do that. You cannot do a custom image. Got to choose from what's available. Social networks. Let's click on social networks, the next section down. Social networks, this will give you a list of social media channels that are probably pretty familiar to you. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and so forth. The way this works is whatever answer, or excuse me, you provide an answer in these fields based on whatever profile it is you want to show up when somebody clicks on the icon. So this Facebook icon right here, I've got a Facebook icon at the bottom. There it is, Facebook icon there. And then I've got another Facebook icon very top up here, Facebook. When you click on that, it's going to take you to facebook.com/Keller Williams Realty, which, by the way, is Keller Williams' Facebook profile. You'll notice I've got KW in all my fields. The reason is because my social media is very much not business oriented. It's camping and dirt bikes and gardening and stuff. And so I didn't feel that I had content suitable for my website, but I did find that Keller Williams has very acceptable content. So if you're in my situation where you're not really ready to put your personal Facebook up there, take a look. This is what I did. I went to kw.com. This is their customer-facing website, kw.com. I came down to the bottom of the website and found their social media badges here. And I clicked on Facebook and found that the website looks really good. I mean, the profile looks really good. It's very professionally done, and the content is not about listings or sales or lead capture. It's the culture of the company. No, not now. And it's very well done. So what I did was I said, okay, I want to tie this into my link here. I looked at the address, facebook.com, and noted that after the slash says Keller Williams Realty. That's what they want. If I copy that and then go in here, that's what I've supplied in this little field right here. I pasted that answer. They understand facebook.com/. They want to know after the slash. Same thing for Twitter. I went in and looked up the Twitter site. I hit their Twitter. There's Twitter. Again, it's very safe content. I'm totally fine with my customers seeing this. New terms. We got it. And if I look at the address, twitter.com, and then slash, what trails after it is KWRI. And that became, I copied that and pasted that here. That became my answer. If I go in, you want to see a picture of my dirt bike? My poor dirt bike sits in my garage. I don't even ride it anymore. There it is. There's my Twitter page. All right. My name is twitter.com/, my profile is twitter.com/shardy. You have to figure that out for yourself. If you've got a Twitter page, you want to show yours, not KW, then go visit your Twitter site and look at your profile and study this address here and look, S. Hardy. Yours may say your first initial last name or something else. And boy, back in the day, I haven't done anything on Twitter in September 2015, the last time I did anything on Twitter. It's not current at all. All right, working down the list, LinkedIn, a little more complex with the same concept. The answer is right there. I just went to their website, KW's website, and I clicked on their LinkedIn banner. And I looked at linkedin.com/ and everything after. Don't be thrown off by the fact that everything after actually has a slash itself. That's okay. The answer is company / Keller Williams Realty Inc. with dashes between Keller Williams Realty Inc. Yours will look similar to that. Now, I will tell you that LinkedIn is a little funny. If you've got an older LinkedIn profile, it may not fit this exact convention. And sometimes if you copy an older link and try to drop it in, it won't work on the KW Placester site. If that happens to you, let me know. There is a what's called a vanity URL tool at Placester that allows you to convert the web address for your profile, and it fits the convention. So if that happens to you, you drop in your link and it doesn't work, you get an error message, let me know after class. I'll help you do that. And if everybody's having that problem, I'll show it on the board, but usually there's one or none that have that problem. If you leave something blank, for example, like Pinterest, then that icon simply won't show up on the website. So I left Pinterest blank. I didn't go that far, and there's no Pinterest icon on my website. Same thing with Google. Concept applies for YouTube and Instagram. I think you get the point. I'll just leave my entries up there for a minute. There's my entries that I supplied. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, and those are the icons that I have that are populated on my website. Make sense? Save those choices. We just finished up with social networks. Let's come on down here to menu and click on the, you know what, everybody, I forgot to reset my menu. So I don't want you to look at the board. I want you to look at your wrist and see what time it is. Text somebody that you love and tell them you love them. Don't look at the board. Somebody tell me what time it is. I appreciate that information. Contact. Now what time is it? No, I'm just kidding. I drive my wife crazy sometimes playing games like that. Okay, it's reset. Thanks. It's not a big deal, but I just didn't want you to lose what I'm saying. Okay, click on menu with me. And I like to think of this as a menu map. These buttons here, home, listing, search, contact, and about me, correlate to these areas right here on my website. Ah, shoot, forgot to recycle it. What time is it? I'm just kidding. Okay. Home, about, home, listing, search, contact, and about me. You can see those buttons there. Now, your buttons probably look very similar to that right now. You may have a slight different order. I think I might have reordered those. And I'll show you how to reorder buttons in a minute. But your buttons, you'll start out with some built-in buttons that are the same topics that I've got. Home, listing, search, contact, and about me. And today I'm going to teach you how to edit those buttons and teach you how to add some content to the menu. So the first thing I would teach you about, I want to teach you about the buttons, is that buttons can be relabeled. So if we look at listing search, for example, when I click on listing search, our listing search tool comes up. Go back to home. If I wanted to make listing search a little bit more engaging, I might relabel it. Here's what I'm talking about. If I go to my control panel and go into menu, right there, I get a layout of my menu bar right now. There it is, listing search. And by clicking on these, it reveals a label. Home button has a label, home. Listing search has a label of listing search. Here's what you need to learn. Whatever you type for the label is what actually presents on your web page. So instead of the words listing search for my listing search, maybe I could type something more engaging like find your, I think I'll capitalize that, next home now. Isn't that engaging? And save that. Now go look at my web page. My listing search button should change. It should pick up the new label. There it is, find your next home now. So I've added a little layer of engagement on my button there. And when I click on it, the site still knows, oh, it's the listing search, and it takes me to that same area. About Me, right there, where it says About Me, takes me to my profile page, my bio page. My bio is a little different than yours. I did play around with mine some and get it kind of cleaned up and laid out with a tool I was experimenting with. Yours may look a little different, but it's still the About Me page. I could make that a little more personal by relabeling it. Go back to menu. And for the About Me page, change the label to About Scott, for example. Save that. Now when I go look at it, it'll pick up the new label. About Me should change to About Scott. So you can relabel existing buttons, whether they're built in or whether they're custom buttons that you add in a minute. You might think of a better label, so you can relabel them. You can also reorder these buttons. You can change the order. Right now it's Home, Find Your Next Home Now, Contact, and About Scott. If I wanted to flip-flop Contact and About Scott, maybe I want Contact to be the last button. Here's how you would do it. Go back to menu. Notice my arrow is my mouse is an arrow, but when I hover over these buttons, it turns into a directional. There's the About Me. There's Contact. I want to flip-flop these two. The way it works is when my mouse is the directional, I can left-click and hold, and I can drag these buttons in different orders. Left-click and hold. I'm left-click and continue to hold. And I'm waiting until the dotted line shows up where it is indicating where if I let go of it now is where the position will be. Here it is. I'm going to put it down here. Now, it's difficult to get this past the About Me. No dotted lines. So what you would do is you grab About Me and bring it up. Now I got the result I wanted. Contact is now at the end. Save that. So you can resort or reorder your buttons. These two should now flip. Here they go. So Contact's at the end, right? So you can relabel these and reorder them. You can also add additional buttons to the menu. And we're going to add 2 buttons today. We're going to add a button for our mobile property search app, and we're going to add a button for This Month in Real Estate, which is a dynamically updated video every month. It updates automatically on your website. And let's start with the mobile property search app for a minute. How many people here have the mobile property search app already on your phone and you know what I'm talking about? You got it? Anybody else? Got it? It's a great tool. I think it's one of KW's, one of their better technologies they've released. It's awesome. It is also an IDX tool. Remember we talked about IDX? So when you have the mobile property search app, and if you don't have the mobile property search app, you will at the end of this example. So just hang tight. But the way it works is, you know, the app comes up and it says, welcome to Scott Hardy's app. And if you've got Scott Hardy's app on there and you do a search, it does an IDX search, meaning that when the search results present on the phone, you're going to see everything but the listing agent contact info, and it's going to show Scott Hardy as a contact. But if you download Sharon's app, right? Why can't I remember your name? I keep making myself try to remember. I got it, but I'm not confident. You know, it's so funny. Mrs. S. No, I'm just kidding. Sharon. If you download Sharon's app, however, it's going to come up. It's going to have her face on the app, and when you do the same exact listing search you did on my app with her app on my phone, it would show Sharon's contact info. How does it do that? That's amazing. When you think about, we have 100, magic. We have 180,000 plus agents in the organization. Everybody has their own app. Well, what Keller Williams had to do was serialize the app so that the IDX would know, oh, this is so-and-so's app, so put so-and-so's information. This is Scott's app, put Scott's information, and so forth. So what we're going to have to do is figure out the link for each one of your apps, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. So we got an IDX tool we're going to add to our website. Here's how we're going to start. We're going to go to our Placester control panel. I'm going to go to menu. And these are the buttons that are existing. We're going to add a button. We're going to use this add tool. Don't click on add just yet. What we've got to do before we click on add is we're going to have to come over here and click next to where it says home. Open that up. And now I have choices that you probably don't have. There's a lot of custom options in this box. It's just me playing around with my website, doing stuff before you've had a chance to do stuff. But what we both have, which you should have as well, at the very bottom of these choices is the option to have a custom URL. And that's what I need you to click on. Click on custom URL, And once this is loaded up with the words custom URL, now you can hit add. And when we hit add, the tool is going to ask us to fill out several things: a label, a URL, and a tooltip. We already know what the label is, right? Whatever you type for a label is the button face, right? It's the face of the button on your website. So if we're making a button that downloads the mobile app, then we need a label that suggests what's going to happen when somebody taps the button, right? So a good example for a label could be something like free mobile download. Free mobile search app. Mobile search app could be another one. There's no rule here other than you want to give them a clue to what's happening. You want to strike a balance between marketing, sort of piquing somebody's interest, and kind of forecasting what's going to happen if they tap on it. I like mobile download. I like the word free. I like that. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to use free mobile download today. And you know what? If you change your mind later, you can go back and relabel it. So once you get a label down, next thing you got to choose is a URL. URL is a link, right? We all have, I mentioned it a minute ago, we all have a custom link that's serialized to us. I have a unique link, you have a unique link, so that the system knows what app to install on the consumer's phone. You've got to figure out what your link is, and there's an easy tool. I've got it ready for you at rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. So go to rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. You may have to open a new tab to find it, to get to it. But once you're there, on any page from rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com, hover over the top where it says New Agents, and on the pull down, choose Step 5, which is called Step 5 E-Agency My Mobile App Introduction. When you see that, click on it. That will take you to a page on my website that I created initially to teach the mobile app to people. If you're not familiar with the mobile app, this is a good resource page to pick up some detail. You even got a little video if you want to learn the mobile app. But what we're trying to do right now is figure out what your link is, and that tool is towards the bottom of the page. Look for this big image. This big image that has the e-agency picture, the red banner, it's got a QR code. Find that big image and click on it. It's near the bottom of the page. And when you click on it, this is magic. I'm impressed with this too. Oh, what, does it make me log in? You may have to log in. It may come up and want you to log in. I guess it logged me out. If you get a KW login, go ahead and give it. My goodness, that's the first time that has not worked for me. Hang on. Hit it. There it goes. It should come up and bring you to this page here. I don't know why I had that little sidetrack on mine, but it's because I said the word magic and it didn't work. It should bring you to this page here, which reveals your mobile app URL right there. Everybody's looks the same. It starts out with http://app.kw.com/ and then it finishes with your serial number. My serial number is this. That same number is incorporated here. They just keep giving it to you. Your agent code, your text code, the URL. This is equivalent to a serial number. I'm the only one in the organization that has this phrase right there, and you should have your own as well. What you need is to copy this mobile URL. We're going to copy that whole string right there. If you're not familiar, you can left click and drag and do like that to copy. But if you don't know, you can double click on any word and it highlights the word. Double click, double click. But if you triple click, it gets the whole sentence or paragraph. Triple click. Wait, there you go. Fast way to copy stuff. Yeah? Triple click and then right click and copy. You need to copy that address. If you want to verify that this address is accurate, open a new tab and visit that link. Paste and go. And I'm looking at a download page for the mobile app, and what I'm seeing is my name in the middle, so I know that truly that did find my link. Now the reason we see this page here, this download link, is because the software is designed for a mobile device or tablet. It doesn't work on a PC. If you go to the download link on a PC, you get this busy page, which is basically telling you to put your phone number in here and hit the button so that it'll text you the link to your phone. Because if you visit this link on a phone or a mobile device, instead of seeing this page, you experience the download process. If you're on an iPhone, you begin downloading the iPhone app. If you're on a Google phone, you begin go in the Google Play Store and it begins downloading the app. But it'll be serialized to whoever's name is written right there, in this case mine. So I know I've got the right link. With that information, now that I figured out my link, and now that you figured out your link, go back to Placester where we left off. Here we are creating our button. There's my label. Now I have an answer for my URL. I'm just going to paste this answer in there. Just paste it in there. Anybody lost? I think y'all would tell me if you're lost. I'm starting to pick that up on y'all. That's good. The third question is a tooltip. This is optional. You don't have to put a tooltip in there. I'm going to put one in so you can see it. I don't particularly care for the tooltip. But a tooltip is something that when a mouse hovers over a button that's loaded with a tooltip, it produces a little balloon of information that further kind of gives a tip to the user what's about to happen. So in this case, remember I talked about this only works on a mobile device, doesn't work on a PC. I think for my tooltip I'm going to put be sure to use this, visit this link using your phone. I wouldn't really put this on a production site, but I'm just trying to give an example of the tooltip, and that's relevant, so I'll just use that. So now I've got a label, I've got a URL, I've got a tooltip, and I've got a green save button that I'm going to click through. And then go up here and visit my website. I'm going to recycle the page, and to the right of contact, I should see my new button up here. There it is, free mobile download right there. There are 2 reasons. I know there's a lot of my things there's 2 reasons for. There's another one. 2 reasons why I want to show you how to put the mobile link on your website. Number 1, it's extremely valuable content, right? I mean, you know how many times people ask me, hey, how do I download my link? Hey, how do I get somebody else to download my link? I don't know what my link is. I hear that all the time. So if you've got that on your website and the sites are mobile responsive, you know that now you can send people to your web page and say, hey, click on the button that says free mobile download, or whatever it was you labeled it. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 that I want to share this with you is because there is a bug in the system, and it's not just for mobile links. It's not just for the mobile download. Anytime you add a link to the website, you may encounter this bug, and you may have already seen it if you clicked on the button. It usually hits me every time. Let me see. I'm going to click on free mobile download and see what happens, see if I get the bug or not. Usually about half the room will say it worked, other half says it didn't work, and it did not work. Did you see that? I clicked on mobile download, free mobile download, and all it did was reload the page. I didn't get my content. Let's go back and look, and I want you to tell me when you see the problem. Here we go, back to menu. Free mobile download, I'm going to open that up and tell me what is the problem. You saw me paste it, didn't you? The URL field is blank. That's the bug right there. Here's an easy fix. And this is not just for this particular example. Anytime you're adding a custom link, if you paste the URL, here's an easy fix. Go back and paste it again. And you can do this the first time. You don't have to let it fail and come back. And delete the last character of the link. In my case, it's the number 1. And then retype it. I'm going to retype it. I'm going to go back and delete the last character and retype it. If you have a letter and it's capitalized, put the capital version of the letter. If it's lower, put the lower version. If it's a number, put the number. Now that I've retyped the last character, I'm going to save it, and that should solve the issue. I'm going to recycle the page, and there it goes. And now when I click on free mobile download, I should see my download page. There it goes. Now it's working. All right. That works with any link. And this next example I'm going to show you, we're going to do this month in real estate. I'm going to add that for us here. Here we go. We're going to go back to my control panel, and we're going to go to menu. We're going to add one more button here. There's my free mobile download. Before I hit the add button, I've got to load it up with custom URL because this is going to be a link to some content. I'm going to come down here and find custom URL. Load that up. I got my form again. So if we're making a button that's going to, when you click on it, it's going to bring up a video, a monthly real estate video that's updated all the time. I need to make a label that somehow captures that. Typing out the words "this month in real estate" makes for a fairly long button. You may not want to put all that in there. And you may have to get creative. And I'm always open to hear what people use at this point because it's kind of a difficult button. It's great content, but a difficult button. You could put something like real estate video. You could put real estate update. You could put video update. Now, I'm a big fan of the word video because I think Google looks for the word video when it's crawling your page. I think Google looks for the word video because Google knows people like video. And just for the fact that people like video is a good reason to incorporate video in there. Video update, monthly video update. What about real estate video update? That's kind of a long button. You might as well just put this month in real estate. What about video update? I think I'm just going to put video update and leave it alone. What are y'all putting?
Monthly RE video.
Monthly RE. I've got my brain went there too once, just using RE. That's not bad. One person said, "I'm writing the word drink me." I was like, "That's too funny." Don't click whatever you do, right? All right. So get your label. If it works now and you think of a better label, put it in later. That's fine. For the URL, unlike the mobile app where we all had a very customized link that was unique to us, in this example, we're going to use the exact same URL for everybody. It's a common URL. And again, you can get that off of my website. Go back to rawlsgrouphelpdesk.com. On any page at the website, scroll to the very top and find the search tool. And I'm going to give you a code to search in the search tool. The code is TMIRE. Stands for this month in real estate. Super easy. TMIRE. And search it. And you'll get a result for links for TMIRE. If you click on it, you will find a help article that never got published. Sometimes that happens. I get so far and I just can't land the plane. But I take us here because here in big letters in red is what you need to copy. This is the link right here. It's a dead link. You can click on it all day long and it won't take you anywhere. I did that on purpose so it makes it easy to copy. So I'm just going to triple click on that, right click and copy. Easy. Or you can left click and drag, right click and copy. Everybody's going to use the same URL. This is a special web address that goes to the monthly update. There's several this month in real estate videos. Some of them are just the current month and that's it. But this one updates every month, which I like. So we're going to go back to my Placester control panel. I'm going to finish up with my URL here. And I'm going to paste my URL. And then what am I going to do? Delete the last character, right? Because we know the deal. Capital R is the last character. Delete. Retype capital R. And a tooltip. Maybe I can come in here and put in this video updates every month. Come back each month. How about that? Maybe come back each month. Come back each month for the next video. Explanation point. I'm excited to my tooltips. I'm going to save. I didn't even show you the other tooltip. We'll look at them both together. All right. I just saved it. I'm going to go back to my website and recycle the page. I should get a new button right here to the right of free mobile download. Here we go. Recycle the page. Video update. There it is. If I hover over it and don't click on it, there's my tooltip. Come back each month for the next video. There's my mobile download. If I hover, there's my tooltip. Be sure to visit this link using your phone. Optional. Don't have to put those in. Here we go. Video update. I'm going to click on that. Press play. May or may not hear the volume. There it goes.
Here at Justin, the national real estate numbers we're tracking for you right now. According to the National Association of Realtors.
And that updates each month. How cool is that? So it'll give you a little bit of content for your website, but also now you've got the experience of learning how to add different links. You might add a link to CMA download, right? You ever use the Cloud CMA at FMLS? You go to FMLS, you can open up the Cloud CMA tool, and it gives you a free customized link that you can incorporate here. So if somebody clicks on it, it's a lead capture system. So they put in their information, perfect use of that link. Maybe you've got a form you want somebody to fill out. Maybe you've got a link to another website, maybe a blog or something, you can add links. One last thing I'll show you about the menu is how to nest a link. I don't have the example here, but it'll make sense when you see it. For this example, just watch what I do. Don't try to follow along. See if you can pick up what I'm doing here. So my goal is I'm going to take these two buttons, free mobile download and video update, and I want to consolidate them into a nested link. And so the first order of business is to come up with a parent button that I'm going to put these guys under, because I don't want to put them under these. They don't relate. So here's what I'm going to do. Just watch this process and see this in action. I'm going to go to Menu, and I'm going to add a new button. Notice I said button, not a link, right? I'm not going to come down and add a custom URL. Instead, what I'm going to do is this time I'm actually going to add what's called a home page or a home button. Now I'm going to show this in progression. I'm going to save this. You would do this all in one step, but watch. I'm just going to show you. If I recycle the page, I get a new button right here called Home. All right. If I click on it, it doesn't do anything. I haven't set it up yet. Haven't done anything. But that's the result of adding that Home button. Now I've got a place. There it is, Home. Now I've got a place that I can target to put these guys underneath. All right. Get them underneath there. So free mobile download and video update. If I want to give a name for this button instead of calling it Home, maybe I'll call it Real Estate Tools, because they're kind of utility kind of stuff. Tooltip, I'm going to get rid of that. All right, I'm going to save that. And again, just being progressive, I'm going to stop and show you what that looks like. There we go, Real Estate Tools. Now I've got a place that looks good. I'm going to move these two buttons underneath. And here's how we do it. Go to Menu. I'm going to focus on this Home button, which is really my label, is really Real Estate Tools. I'm going to use my mouse pointer. It's an arrow here. It becomes a plus sign here. I'm going to left click and grab one of my targets, one of my candidates, Video Update. I'm left clicking still and holding, and I'm going to bring it down. Now the dots are here between Video Update and Home. I'm going to bring it on top of Home. Notice the dots are now around the word Home. When I let go, it's going to drop it inside. Did you see how it indented it? Now look, Video Update just got nested. Recycle it. Video Update's going to go away. And there it is under Real Estate Tools, you see? So that's helpful if you start having a lot of buttons on your toolbar. You can begin nesting it. This one, free mobile download, left click, drag. I'm going to bring it down until the dotted lines are either around that Home or now between Home and Video Update. Either way it will work. I'll drop that. That's indented. The indentation lets you know those are related to each other. They're nested. It's a common question I get. People say, hey, I want to nest some links. You can only do 1 degree of nesting. But see how that's nice, and it cleans up my website a little bit. Now, free mobile download and video update are pretty high value targets. I would probably actually keep them on the top where you can see them. But I just needed an example for today to show you how to nest some stuff. So I got those two nested. Folks, I have showed you and told you everything I plan to show you today. And it's not even 4 o'clock. It's almost 4 o'clock. This never happens. I don't know how we motored through this so quickly. Did it seem fast to y'all? I mean, too fast? You held your questions. I tell you, that's something else. So we've got some free time in our hands. There's plenty I can still show you. I could probably come up with some stuff, but I want to stop for a minute and find out, are there questions that you maybe have or anything you want to talk about for a minute? What's on your minds?
Somewhere along the line, there were auto blogs.
Mm-hmm.
And they stopped.
So there were never auto blogs. There were starter. There's 4 articles that everybody in the company got. They're like 2016 vintage. If you look at the date, they say 2016, I think. Those are sample blogs. Everybody in the company got them, and it's not like there's a feed that there was coming in. It's just to show you what the blog post would look like. So my advice is to remove them. Well, it depends on your situation, what you're intending on the website. If your goal for the website is for Google to crawl your page and to see the content and start ranking you, and you want to try and be competitive with your content, I would take those blog posts off, because one of the things Google's looking for is that you have unique content, And for 185,000 agents to have the same 4 starter posts does not show as unique. And so if you really want content that's going to help you be attractive to Google, I would recommend that you delete those blog articles. If, however, you're on the other side of the fence and you're like, I'm not really trying to compete for Google, I'm trying to make a pretty web presence, a pretty storefront online, so that when I give somebody my business card and it says go to treehousefinder.com and they go to my website, I want it to look good and I want to have some content, then I'd say leave the blog posts, and, or maybe leave them until you come up with some other post yourself. You can control the blog post here under the control panel. We've spent our time under site design today and listings, but if you come up to the very top, there's blog posts up here and pages. If you go to blog posts, it'll show you the number of blog posts that you have. I've got 0 because I deleted all mine. If you are just now looking at your blog post for the first time and you've not deleted the originals, you'll see those 4 are listed in rows right here, and on the far right hand side you can delete them. It says delete or unpublish. Oh, we finished the class, by the way. Yeah, we're in the part where it's open questions, open questions, and we're going to work on anything you want to for a little while. So we got done a little early. I don't know what happened, but just so you know where we are. Does that answer your question? Okay, very good.
I have a question that's kind of unique to me. So, well, I have 2 questions actually. I'll ask the one that maybe other people are.
We totally have time for 2 questions. That's what's so awesome. So
I'm looking at the menu labels across the top.
Okay.
And so there's one that says contact, but then right up above it, I have the same style that you do, the Madison.
Okay.
There's email me and a phone. So I'm kind of like, do we really need a contact?
I got you.
Down there next to real estate tools?
So, okay, here's the thing that happens.
Oh, I see. Never mind. But go ahead.
I was going to say, so if your phone number's there, right? So people dial you. Your email's not written out for your protection. I found that out because if they write your email out, nasty pirates on the internet that have software that crawl the websites just like Google crawls can pick up your email address if it's out in the open, and then you get on these, underground mailing lists and stuff. It's crazy. So they don't write your email out. But if you click on that, then what happens is it's a mail to link, and your system, whatever your email client is, will come up like Outlook or whatever it is and try to send an email. In this case, this system doesn't have an email client set up. So as I click on email me, nothing's happening. As an alternative, if they go to contact, it becomes a contact form that they can fill out, and so you don't need an email client or anything like that, and they can contact you directly. So I think that's a good form to have.
Yeah. It would be a way to capture leads too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If somebody
for some reason.
Right, if somebody went in there and filled that out. I'll be honest with you, I would probably be inclined, because of the way this works, since we're just having a conversation here, where's my website? Contact. Knowing how this works, the email button, that it's, the chances of somebody clicking on this and it not working are pretty good, because it depends on your web visitor having a successfully set up Outlook or mail client. And a lot of people use Google, right? They use a web-based, and so this doesn't work. In today's age, I think I would be tempted to come down here under site info and probably take out my email address and leave that out, and then that way, if I got it right, now that that's gone, then they can see my name, they can call me, and if they want to reach me, then they're forced to contact, and that may be a better way to handle that. And I think I might start just saying that from now on, because that's always bothered me, knowing that if somebody clicks on it, chances are it's not going to work, because so many people just use gmail.com as their email, not Outlook, What was your other question?
My other question was, so if you had a team, like my sister and I work together, but we're sort of an informal team. But could you add another person, or she's a KW agent too? If we wanted, could you have 2 websites, I guess, or could you add another person to your website, like another contact person?
Let me just speak on that for a minute. So the first thing I would tell you is that these websites are really good at what they're designed to do, right? They're really a one-trick pony. It's set up to be a single agent residential business website, really, more than anything else. When you start getting past that is when you can, you can get by with some things, but you're gonna have to compromise a couple of things. Not security, but you're just gonna have to figure out how to work it in, and it may or may not work. Now, one thing you can do that I've seen people do is they've done things like they take a headshot, and if it's a team, they go get a team headshot and they upload that single image together.
Okay.
And then when they put their first and last name in, they'll put team member number 1. They'll put their first and last name in the first name field. And team member number 2, they'll put their first and last name in the last name field. Those kind of things. I've seen people do that, and it kind of works. But you're sort of pushing the system and what it's supposed to be doing, right? The official answer from Placester is to use, if you are an agent and you have a team, is to use this agents tool right here. Because what this allows you to do is it allows you to set up a small roster of people in your website, on your website. This works great if you've got a rainmaker and then everybody else is subordinate. I think it's kind of weird if you're a team, like a partnership. It could be hard to show this. But this is what it looks like. You go in, and I've got Annie agent, fictitious, myself, and then my wife, who she's real, but she's fictitiously, in my business. You would just go in here and add a page here. You put somebody's name in, and you create a bio for them. It's a basic word editor, right? You create their bio, put in as much information as you want. If you put their MLS ID, then if they have any listings, their listings will show up below as in their bio. You can put their contact info. You just fill this out. Here's one. Here's like Annie agent. I've got that one filled out. There's the bio. Remember, I used this example, P. Simone today, East Cobb. All right, and then here's Jessica. I did her little fictitious bio, and I used Lisa Vale's agent ID. All right, so those are those profile pages. Once you create the profile page, then you also come up and you have to add a new page called, I don't think I've got one, so I'll put it in here. You're going to add a new page, and this page, you choose for the template an agent index. Boom. And then you come in here to the page title and you say something like meet the team. Come down here and you choose, let's see, where is it? Uh-oh, did I do something wrong? I did areas index. I'm sorry. Agent index. Now, meet the team, and you choose which people you want to show up on this meet the team. So this is valuable. I'll put all 3 of us right there and save it. Look at this pop-up. This page was added to your menu. Okay, good. I'm good with that. I don't need to edit the menu. I'll just close that, recycle the page, and I should get a new page added to my menu called Meet the Team. There it is. And when I click on it, it's going to show up those 3 profiles. So you could do something like that if you've got teams in your organization, but it's a little difficult if it's a 50-50 situation, But one thing that this is really handy for is, I just showed you the example of being an agent team, right? But notice you can set up, you can go in here and add up agents. You can create an infinite list of agents. When you create your page and tell it that it's going to be a agent index, look what it does. It activates and it gives you a checkbox for every single profile that you create on your website. So you could do this for like vendors, specialists, agents. So what if I did like a vendors page, right? I could go add each of my vendors as an agent, and then when I create my vendors page, preferred vendors, I would go and select just those vendor profiles that I created. Are you with me on that? So like I could come over here to agents and create a new one called, this one would be plumber, right? And I could put it bio. We like to plumb, all right? And you can do all that stuff, set it all up, do images and links and get all fancy if I want to. And I'm not going to do agent ID because he's a plumber, right? I might put his address, 12345 Brown Street, and then that was tasteless. I don't know why I put that. Anyway, mobile phone, put all that in there. Title, sales rep. And then put their social media in there. I didn't even show that a minute ago. And then when I save all that, now look, if I go to my pages and create a new page, whoops, called Agents Index, this time I'm going to call it Preferred Vendors. And I'm not going to choose Scott, Annie, and Jessica. I'm going to say my plumber. And that way I've got a vendors-oriented agent index. This page was added to your menu. So now I got another page just got added to my menu. Let's go look at it. Preferred vendors, okay, is in there. Save that, go look at it. Come back to my home page. I should now get a new button called Preferred Vendors. Well, all these are is agent profiles, but I'm disguising them or, you know, dressing them up as a vendors page. And boom, there he is. My plumber is now in there. So you can start breaking things up, and you can have vendors, agents, specialists, all kinds of stuff, you know, whatever services you want to put together. I know that was a longer answer than you probably expected, but
No, that's helpful.
it's helpful. Stuff we don't get into when we don't finish 30 minutes early. It's funny.
You could do links too, like if you specialized in a certain area, or you could do another page. I guess you could add maybe on that.
Are you thinking for a real estate, a sales associate?
No, I was just thinking of adding, I don't know, just links. I don't know.
Yeah, you could add links. Because like when I click on this.
Another page, another drop down, I mean not drop down, at the top an icon. But that's okay, we don't
Yeah.
have to do that, I was just thinking out loud.
Yeah, when you open up their profile, it does have, you'll be able to put links to it. So
Yeah.
I'm about to go in here and see. I believe it shows her inventory, doesn't it? What? I thought it was going to show. Oh, you know what? I forgot. So you remember when I said, oh, put the agent ID in and it'll show the inventory?
Mm-hmm.
At the very beginning of the Placester integration, they did that, but they took that out, but you can still put the agent ID in there. Because I asked that at the booth. I was like, hey, what happened? I lost that. And the guy said, yeah, we don't have that anymore. But anyway, but you still see where you can build the different profiles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that feature too.
Everybody's done with questions, I just need to, you know.
Maybe get busy on your site, work on something. Be happy to do that. See if there's something else that might be worth sharing with y'all real quick. So here's another thing. Here's a pro tip I would share with you on the website. Something that I'm just thinking of the things that I wish I had time to say usually that we don't. And here's one. So it's one thing to build your site, right, and to just run it and just to have it live, and wonder, are people visiting my site? If so, how are they getting there? What are they doing on my site? It's a whole other thing to actually have insight on what's happening. And I would share with you the Google Analytics product is amazing. It's down here. If you come down to the More section at the very bottom, Site Tracking, I would encourage you to set this up. Go to Site Tracking and add a tracking ID. There's my tracking ID. I'm tracking this website. Google Analytics is free, super easy to set up. All you got to do is log into, you see how we're logged into Monty's right here? I'm going to log out of Monty before I start messing stuff up. Sign out. All right. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to do a Google search for the word analytics. And it'll be the first hit, the first organic hit. There it is, Google Analytics. Click on that. And now I'm at the Google Analytics website. You can go to sign in and choose analytics. And the system's going to ask me to create an account here if I don't have one. Ooh, it should go back. Analytics. Sign up for free right there. You sign up. Once you've signed up, then you can get in. Does anybody want to do this real quick? I'll do it with you. I'll get you signed up right now. Who wants to do it? All I need is an email address here.
I'll do it.
Okay, we got a volunteer.
Do you want my, I mean, I have a Google account where I just have my Keller Williams.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a Google account, but it could be. It can be any email address, and your KW account would actually be a good candidate to set this up. So what's your KW email address?
It's Lee Hunter.
How you spell it?
Lee Hunter @kw.com.
Okay. And I'm gonna say next, and then don't call your password out right now.